Hey everyone, Brian from Three Geeky Dads here. Before we begin tonight's episode, I just want everyone to know that we are now sponsored by Audible. As an IT professional for a school department, I find myself behind the wheel of my car traveling between schools almost all day long, and that's where Audible comes in. Right now, I'm enjoying listening to Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, read by Stephen Fry. It's so enjoyable to hear this hilarious audiobook read by a proper British comic actor. And that's just scratching the surface. Audible is the leading provider of spoken word content, with everything from bestsellers, celebrity memoirs, and news to podcasts. Yes, if you're into podcasts, and you're listening to us right now, so we can assume you do, Audible has got you covered. Just go to www.audibletrial.com/3GD to get your free 30-day trial today. That's www.audibletrial.com/3GD to get your free 30-day trial. You'll get 1 credit, 2 credits if you're already an Amazon Prime member. That's good for any premium selection titles you like, and they're yours to keep. You also get the Audible Plus catalog of podcasts, audiobooks, guided wellness, and Audible originals. Listen all you want. No credits needed. Again, that's www.audibletrial.com/3GD. $14.95 a month after your 30-day trial. Cancel at any time. Audible. Stay informed, connected, and inspired. And now, on with the show.
Warning, incoming dad joke. Warning, incoming dad joke.
Hey, have you guys ever heard about the movie called Constipation?
Why, no.
No?
That's because it never came out.
Oh! Ooh!
Yeah, like poop.
Poop!
I didn't like that one at all.
Who is that? What does he do?
Looks like a pink nightmare.
Christmas has a Yule log. Not a log. I don't have a log, but it's...
All that I have, all that I've learned, everything I feel, all this and more I bequeath you, my son.
Your father was Frankenstein, and your mother was the lightning.
We named the dog Indiana. I am your father.
I liked it.
Thank you.
I've been there. Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of Three Geeky Dads.
It's all the cheese.
The only show with all the cheese. The only show where all dads could watch Weredeer and still have the guest on the following week who requested they watch it. I am Mark, and with me as always are the wham and bam to my thank you, ma'am.
Derek.
And Brian.
And joining us as always, I haven't really prepared this one, so Tito's here. Hi, Tito.
Hey,
Tito, the lovable Tito.
we're scaling it back this week. Nice.
We're scared. Rhode Island's own
Nice.
Tito.
Yeah, Rhode Island's own.
That's like
Rhode
the
Island's
worst
own.
introduction ever.
That is.
Not
It is.
great. Not
No,
great.
no.
I haven't loved them all. I definitely didn't like that one.
I got nothing for you. I can't even think of anything now.
Who
Who else?
Wait.
Yeah,
Well,
who's with us tonight?
What's up? So tonight, as you can tell, I'm winging this introduction. First off, I had to take off last week. Thank you guys for steering the show to the end and using your genius to close the show out. Sorry,
Almost
about
hit the
that.
iceberg.
But I'm back, baby. We're back,
Better than
all of
ever.
us, and we have a guest with us.
We do.
From we
we?
got the Squid Man himself, as he is credited in the movie we're talking about tonight, Curse of the Weredeer. We have with us Josh Dahlin. Josh. Dahlin.
Welcome back.
Dahlin or Dahlin?
It's Dahlin.
Dahlin.
Yeah, everyone says
Josh, you have been on the show before. You've been a big supporter of this show. Well, I don't know why you did this to us, but welcome.
You guys
the
requested.
show.
We did.
You guys,
We did. It was
you guys
our
were like,
fault.
can we
No,
get
we
a
didn't.
screener of
No.
the movie you were in? And
No,
I
we
was
didn't.
like,
We didn't do
I
that.
said,
No.
are you sure?
No.
Are you sure?
You have evidence of this? You have no evidence of this.
I have text threads.
No
I'm going to
proof.
screenshot them right
No,
now.
I have been watching a bunch of mob movies. I'm denying everything. So, tonight, we're doing two things. Instead of an appetizer, we're going to spend some time talking with Josh about Curse of the Weredeer. That's kind of our appetizer / half course.
Yeah.
And then the other half
It's a little
is
surf and turf tonight.
There you go. I like that.
yeah.
Yeah, you're the shrimp. The shrimp of the show. The seafood of the show.
The squid. He's the calamari.
He's the calamari.
Right,
That's right.
you're the
There we go.
Because
calamari.
he was Squid Man.
Yeah,
And
it was
then
served
the
right up
meat
to you,
of
Mark,
the meat of our show is going to be.
Oh,
What?
sorry, wrong Squidward.
Hello, platter.
platter was right there, served up real nice.
Shut up. And after that, we got the meat of the show, which is we're going to have a roundtable discussion about bad movies that we love, or why do we movies that are so bad they're now celebrated.
Right.
That we embrace the cheesy movies.
Nothing to do with the first part of the show. It's just we're it's
a
a
weird
totally different
coincidence.
subject. Right.
Yeah.
Weird coincidence.
Yeah, no, nothing at all. Yeah,
No relation.
Because we got a lot to say about tonight's movie.
do.
So let's get to it. First of all, everybody saw this film.
We did.
Do you want to hear what we thought first, or do you want to lead us into how you got involved? You know what? Do that. How did you get involved with Curse of the Weredeer, Josh?
You know what? I don't even remember.
Good night, everybody.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I have no
Thank you.
idea.
Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you and good night.
Good job. You know what?
I'm allowed to wing it. You're not, Josh.
I support a lot of independent films.
Right.
Yeah, you guys follow Horror Depot. That's my jam.
Yeah.
Love independent film, specifically horror. And I think I followed them. I found out they were making a movie. And I just kind of got a hold of them, and I was like, "Hey, if you guys need something, let me know."
And
I'll be happy
who
to
is
help.
them? Is this the guys at
This
Shithouse
is Ben
Production?
Johnson. Yeah, Ben
Yeah.
Johnson, good friend of mine now. He was the director of the film. He was filming at his laundromat, so I drove out to Tennessee to his laundromat. I did an interview with him and Derek Johnson, no relation. Derek is just like
Johnson
the
and
star.
Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson and Johnson.
No relation.
It's like Die Hard.
They kept putting their needle in me. I don't know.
Lots of baby oil on this set too.
Yeah, I love those guys. I love both of them. I did an interview with them a long time ago. And then they just hit me up. They were like, "Hey, you're pretty cool. You're welcome to come down and work on the movie." And I was like, "Are you gonna pay me?" And they were like, "So I was like, "I'm in." And I talked to my wife. We were going on vacation, and so I just took like a 3-week vacation and went to Tennessee for 2 weeks. And it was the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Yeah.
Completely changed my life. I've never been away from the kids for more than 24 hours. That was the first time. Everyone that I met there, I still talk to this day.
Awesome.
Like we just had the screening in New York, and it was like family. You walked in, absolutely everyone gave me a hug. Everyone was like, "So good to see you." I got to talk to everybody who was in front and behind the camera. It was awesome. And people that weren't there, I just reached out and I was like, "Hey, I missed you." And they're like, "Oh, we miss you too." So it was
Nice.
like genuinely nice.
That's awesome.
Was there a lot of like you guys kind of hanging out afterwards and like hitting the town and things like that?
Fuck no.
No.
No, they were like 20-hour days.
Okay.
And when I first got there, I was like, this is what this is about. Like, fuck this. But I was stuck there in Tennessee, so I was like, well, I better make the best of it. And then I ended up feeding Ben's cats and doing dishes and his laundry every day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's like I was basically the live-in maid
Wow.
for the movie.
That's what it takes to get
Personal assistant.
to the
right?
business.
Yeah.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's what I do at home. So if I'm somewhere else, I'm like, you can't live like this.
Yeah.
And the cat was meowing, and I was like, hey, wake up. And they didn't wake up. So I was like, I'm feeding your cat. Which is like the running joke still to this day. Like, I send pictures of cat food to the cast still to this day. But they were awesome. They let me stay there for 2 weeks. This guy just opened his home, and he was like, he saw me, and I was like, you don't know if I'm a killer.
It's true.
And then he's like, look at the rest of the cast.
You're the normal one.
Yeah, and so with those long days, eventually towards the end, I was like, all right, let's go. Like, let's get this done. What are you standing around for? Let's go. Let's do this. Let's come on. And they listened, which was nice. I was like,
Wow.
I wish my wife listened.
Whoa.
Thank you, everybody in the cast, if you're listening. Thank you for listening to me. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And they did do like a behind the scenes podcast every single night. And at some points they were coming to Ben's house to do it. And I was like, would you shut the fuck up? Like, we have been up for 24 hours straight. Like, I need some sleep. I need to get up in 4 hours to feed your cat. The laundry's not going to do itself, people. Yeah, and it was specifically the sound guy, James, who I love James. He does the Make No Difference podcast, like Totally Tunular podcast. He has the Fantasy Shed. They have all the podcasts there. Everyone that was in the film is on some form of podcast in the Fantasy Shed network. I suggest you check it out. It's pretty cool. But they were doing podcasts all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, just shut up. Like, at one point, the crew comes in, and I'm in my pajamas. I get in the covers under the couch, and then all of a sudden, like, 3 people walk in. I was like, what the fuck? And they're like, well, we're going to do a podcast. I was like, yeah, outside, right? Yeah, and they were like, you can't tell us to leave. And I was like, well, I live here now, so I can't.
I'm sorry, is anybody else doing the dishes or the laundry or feeding the cat?
Who else is feeding the cat?
Yeah, it was a really good time. A really good time.
So you were there for 2 weeks. Was that the entire run of the shoot, or did it go?
Like, I think a week and a half before I got there. I got there right like in the middle of the chaos. Like the first day I got there, Derek, the star, was sobbing hysterically. Jimmy's dad was there. Jimmy was the writer. His dad was there, and he got lost. Somebody accidentally gave him an edible, and he was completely lost. In the yard, just doing circles. And people came in with no idea what was going on. Like the same thing that happened to me. Ben Terry closed the door right in my face when I showed up. I showed up. I'm like, I'm here for the movie. And he's like, oh, we're filming later. And closed the door. And I was like, dude, I have no idea where I am.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to sit in my car for a while.
And then so then the director's like, here's the address to where we're filming. And it was a laundromat. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. But then I went out and I ate breakfast. And I came back like 4 hours later, and then they were filming. So there we go.
Nice.
Good times. But the first day was really something. That's how I met Nadia. They were like, they set up this kitchen shot, and they're like, we need you to sit right here. Don't move. Look over there. We need to make sure it looks right. Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
So I'm just sitting there, and I'm like,
So you were the stand-in.
I'm like, I'm in showbiz, right? I'm just looking. And then I'm sitting there for like 5 minutes, and it's complete silence, and I'm like, and I turn around, and there's a woman bent over completely naked. And I'm like, oh, hi. She's like, oh. And I'm like, who are you? She's like, I'm Nadia. I'm the star. I'm like, oh, I'm Joshua. Nice to meet you. I was
I'm
like,
a squid.
Yeah. Well, at that point, I didn't know what I was going to be. So I was like, that's a good way to meet somebody. And then I sent a picture of me and her to my wife, and she's like, don't send me any pictures until it's over. I don't want to know anything. Don't tell me anything. She's like, and I didn't know Nadia did adult films at that. And
knowing is half the battle.
Yeah.
I wish I would not have sent that picture. And it was her in the bathrobe, and I was like, oh, look how cool it is. I'm hanging out. And,
phrasing?
Yeah, my wife didn't think that was cool. But, you know, she's a really good, like, thank God my wife is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh, we do.
Yes.
We all have awesome wives.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, right.
We love them very much.
You have to say that, because if they ever listen. And you know what? I met Trauma fan Chrissy on set, and she lives in Connecticut, and we are like best friends. We hang out all the time. I'm always doing events, and I always stay with Chrissy when I do like an outside Rhode Island event, and my wife's like, whatever.
Yeah.
It was like, after a while of marriage, you just know. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
I ain't going anywhere. And there was a lot of boobs in that, and a lot of dicks in that.
A lot of
Yeah.
I definitely noticed that.
The temptation was everywhere.
Yeah.
And so there's the other thing, like, Nadia did a strip club scene, and we were there for filming that particular scene. Her husband was on one side, and Big Dan was, he's like you could see, he's a big dude, right? So they didn't really know the extras. We had a lot of local people, extras. And they were like, we need to make sure Nadia is safe. So her husband's an MMA fighter, or former MMA fighter. He's a wrestler now. Big Dan is obviously like
Big.
Yeah. And then they're like, you sit in the middle. And they're like, I was like, oh, cool. And they're like, you're going to be a squid. And I was like,
My dream.
I'm like, yay!
Did they say? Wait, hold on. Did they? You got to backtrack with this. Did they say why?
Yeah, that was my question, too.
Now, why were you?
Why are you constantly dressed in a
So,
squid costume?
I love Ben Johnson, but he loves to fuck with people on his set. So like
He likes to
people
fuck with his
that
audience,
travel,
too.
Yeah, like there were a couple other guys in the prison scene, and they traveled far to be in the movie, and it was like a one shot. And he's like, "You guys are gonna be the gay prisoners, and we're gonna put sparkles on you and make you dance." And they were like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And he's like, "Nope."
Hey, you
And
want to
when
be
I
in the
got
movie,
there,
don't
he
you?
was like, "Oh, thanks for
wanna be a
coming, man.
star, don't you?"
I need you on set. Like, you know what we're gonna do?" And I'm like, "Oh, dude, what?" He's like, "Squid suit." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks, buddy." But you know what? Yeah, you just go with it because it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, and you're easy to spot.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
And I was telling you guys, I had to sit there and watch Nadia dance for 6 hours. And that was like a 6-hour take with all the
sucks.
different angles. And
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, it would be cool if I wasn't married and I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
And like her husband wasn't right next to me. No, Jason, I love you. I see it. Like, I really miss them. They were probably some of the coolest people I got to hang out with. So, and that's when I found out they did adult films together. Jason was like, "Oh yeah, that's how we met." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, we do adult films." I'm like, "What do you mean?"
This is an adult film.
I'm an adult. I'm in a film.
like movies on the BBC.
I was so confused. And he just looked at me. He's like, "Pornography?" And I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, you guys do porn?" And he's
Yeah,
like,
well,
"Yeah."
yeah.
I was
Why
like,
they just said pornography?
And I was like, "Well, I didn't know what he was talking about."
It was taking a while to sink in, Mark.
Oh, okay.
You
all
can
right.
look at me
I
and
would
tell
have caught on
I'm
straight
an innocent
away.
guy. I'm an innocent soul. I don't do those kind of things. I don't watch. I'm not Derek. I don't have a 24-inch.
Few people are.
and a cramped hand.
Yeah. 24-inch forearms.
Helps if you massage it after.
Yeah, good times. So, I don't even know what the question was. I just went over there. Sorry.
No, that's what
There
we
really wasn't a
wanted.
question,
There was
yeah.
really no question. Just how you got involved, and now the film itself, gentlemen. We saw this movie. What did we think about it?
I think it's Tito's turn to go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
You guys are gonna be really surprised. I thought this movie was fun as hell.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
I
shocked.
thought you were gonna hate it.
No,
Oh wow,
it was pretty
that's
fun.
awesome.
Wow.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, Josh. I'll tell you why I was late. Because I started watching the movie last night, and then 20 minutes into it, I was like, "Damn, I'm tired." So then I just went to sleep. And then I woke up and I was like, "Oh, I gotta watch this fucking movie." I got no time. So when I got home I got a haircut because I had time for that. I said,
Priorities,
and
Tito.
I was like, you know what? I should text the guys, tell them to I'll skip dinner because I got to watch this. I thought it was a lot of fun. The hunting scene where they're all getting their dicks ripped off. I think that's just hilarious.
All right, who are you? Wait a minute. Whoa.
So you guys all had seen it. You're sending texts, and I was just like, "Oh man, this is gonna be really good for me. I'm not gonna enjoy this at all."
Dude, I am shocked.
Me too.
And then I turned it on, and I was like, "It was fun. It's a fun film." I thought the music was a lot of fun.
I like the music.
Some of the lyrics,
Yeah, the
and some of
music
the
was.
songs.
Yep.
like,
So it's all
hilarious.
green jello.
that's the name
Or
of the
green
band.
jelly.
No
Or
kidding.
yeah, they're jelly now.
Oh yeah, wow. I
Yeah,
know.
Ben, it was really funny because Ben and I talked about green jelly a lot. And he's like, "Yeah, I reached out to him. They're going to do the soundtrack." I was like, "Yeah, like, really?"
A lot of the songs were either like super catchy and fun, or just hilarious.
The
Like
lyrics.
you're watching
Yeah.
and you're like, "Wait a minute, what did he say?"
Yeah, I found myself rewinding it a couple times too.
right.
Like, did he just say just because I'm sucking dick doesn't mean I'm gay? Is that what he's singing?
I think that's a John Brennan song.
And there's just like a lot of fun one-liners throughout the film. I couldn't even keep track of them all. But like the scene where the guy's getting a blowjob and then Weredeer bites down his dick. He's like, "Well, that was a crunch." I thought that was hysterical. And the guy that was the Randy, is that the main character?
Yeah.
I thought he was really good. I thought he was really funny. I really liked when he he took his hat off finally, and the cigarette
Yeah.
was like glued to the hat, and he's like crying in his car. I thought that was hysterical. There was I don't know.
I didn't notice that.
There was a lot of again, a lot of one-liners. Besides that, that was a crunch. There were a bunch throughout the movie that I was like, oh, that was a fun line that they just incorporated. I thought everybody was all right. I didn't like the coroner. I thought,
Yeah, me neither.
Oddly enough, I thought he was, as over the top as this movie is, I thought he was too over the top. It was like kind of taking me out of the movie a bit when he would be on the screen. But otherwise, yeah, I thought it was pretty fun.
So Zach Amico is probably the most successful actor.
That's the
in
coroner.
the
Yeah.
entire
Yeah.
movie. Yeah,
Really?
he's got a podcast. He's a comedian in New York, and he does all the Troma films. He is like outrageously popular.
Oh, really?
He's like one of the top comedians. He is funny as fuck.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it was just
So I'm kinda
the
shocked to
kind
hear
of
you say that.
character
He
that
was my favorite part of the movie.
The coroner.
Yeah, that was the coroner.
Oh, interesting. That's something about him. I maybe the way he was playing it, I just wasn't into. And then there was a point where I was like, "Wait a minute, is he the coroner? I missed something.
And he's
I missed
actually
something
like,
in all these dicks."
such a really awesome guy too.
Yeah.
He walked in set and he was just like hello to everybody, and they're like, oh, everybody was doing a good job, and he raises his voice when he needs to, like, everyone shut the fuck up, but he would never get out of the chair. He would just be like, but he's a very commanding presence.
Yeah.
And especially on set, there was a few guys like that. Babette the sheriff. Babette
Oh,
Bombshell
I thought he was really good too.
is another one. Like if he said something,
That-
everybody stopped to listen.
I saw the name Babette Bombshell in the credits, the opening credits, and I'm waiting for this chick.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
this
One of
sounds like a
these.
stripper name.
Yeah. Which one of these girls is
And then it turned out to be the big fat sheriff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
What's that
When I
thing
saw
that's
that at the
supposed to
end.
be his dick at the end?
What?
What's that thing that's supposed to be his dick at the end?
Is it an antler?
That's
Is
the
it like a-
mutated like.
Yeah, it's
So
like an
weird dick?
animal dick. It's a
Is that
weird
what
dick.
it
Yeah.
That's a deer
weird
dick.
dick.
That's a deer dick.
Oh, all right.
Sort kind of,
I've
sort
never
of.
seen one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Derek has. He watches.
That's right. I paused it.
Red Rocket, Red Rocket.
I did a couple sets.
I don't. So you obviously you're in the movie. You know the guys who made the movie. Is there some kind of underlying like social story mixed into this movie? Because I'm watching the movie. I'm like, is this
there really is,
anti-hunting?
like, so-
semi woke kind of. I hate to use that word, but
Progressive.
like progressive,
That-
like
that was
story,
used
like
in the
mixed
movie.
into
Yeah.
the.
Well, and like
Lloyd-
all the gay, there was a lot of gay stuff, and I kind of was like, are they doing it as a commentary about like what the stereotype is in the South and their viewpoint of things like
it's-
that? Or?
So Ben lives in Tennessee.
Yeah.
There a lot of those guys live out in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
So commentary, I don't know, but it's '90s humor.
yeah,
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we
yeah,
all
yeah,
grew up
yeah.
in the same era.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
For sure.
They were like, "This is really funny. It'd be even funnier if we touched penises." Like, you know, and we're like, "Yeah, that's funny."
I still don't understand white people. I really don't.
Yeah, like
I just don't get them.
That's why I'm happy I'm a black guy.
I married one. I tried.
and obviously Babette Bombshell is gay. So
Oh, is he?
Oh, is he? I
well,
didn't pick up
like
on
the
that.
=1 drag queen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hence the
Babette's
name. That
super-
makes
Right.
more sense
Okay,
now.
well,
All right.
Yeah, that, see, I didn't pick up on
And
that.
he was the one that was like pushing stuff too. He was like, you know what would be really good in this scene, and of course everybody listens. Lloyd Kaufman helped produce it.
Yeah.
It's like you have to have an undertone of like murdering defenseless animals.
Yeah.
So they did that. You know, and that was like Doe Day, and like especially the little kid
Doe Day.
that was drinking in the bar, and she's like, "We're gonna kill some deers," like you know. That was definitely on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
And the underlining thing is like love through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll notice like the love story takes precedence over mostly everything else. So that was the two underlying stories that I got.
That was my take. Mark, you want to go?
Wow, yeah.
Tito's bringing you around.
Well, no, not at all. Not at all. Listen, I don't know where to go from here. What are you showing?
Wow, I bet Bombshell.
Oh, see,
You know what, Mark?
that
I'll give you a minute to gather
You
your
wanna-
thoughts.
do you-
No. I wanted to ask a question
Go ahead,
about
ask the
Babette.
question.
So, what did you know? What made them decide to use, like, to have him dressed up as a man versus like dressing in his custom
In drag?
So Babette is probably one of the most talented actors you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Every time you see Babette do something, he is a completely different character.
Yeah.
He is so well-rounded. I just watched a sci-fi, well, I'm in the middle of a sci-fi movie. It's on Troma now. I can't remember the name of it. Babette plays like this android who just shoots everybody. And you would never know it's him.
Yeah.
Or her. You
Right.
would never know it's her. One of the most genuinely nice people you will ever meet in your life.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore Babette. I actually went to Babette for advice more than once for family situations. Like, you couldn't be a nicer person.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's so fucking talented. He wanted to really round out, and Ben had known about him through working with Troma, and Ben reached out and was like, hey, we have this role that's a sheriff, and when you hear him, his natural voice is very feminine and soft. When you hear him as the sheriff,
Right.
you would not believe.
Yeah.
It's the same
him.
person.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
so
He
you
was
put it
good.
on.
He definitely stood out in the film.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, yeah.
It was like being
Yeah.
really good.
when you,
And the
As their character.
the game warden guy too.
Oh, Game Warden.
The game warden.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
He was good.
Mr. Fitness
Yeah,
to the
there
wrestler.
there was some chops in this. So I
Eric's
felt
awesome.
I felt like I was watching a John Waters movie. I felt like I was watching Pink Flamingos, and I felt like everybody was, or rather, everybody who made the movie was trying to be as disgusting as possible. And I had to keep reminding myself of that while watching this movie, because while there is a cool little grindhouse story in here, the Weredeer thing was cool looking. I'm not going to lie. When it's skipping through the field in the background, I actually laughed at that part. Like, legitimately laughed.
When the guy's on the ground with no legs.
Yeah, and he's
oh, there he
pointing to him.
goes.
There
Look
he
at him-
goes.
Look at
yeah.
him go.
I thought that was good.
Cyrus.
The gore effects I thought were great. But there was just so much padding of this constant in-your-face revulsion. Like, it wasn't just like, let's get in the tent and fuck, like that. Oh, that's funny. They are gay. They're going to do gay stuff. But then
It went on for 10
was
minutes.
just 10 minutes of
Well, just
constant,
just for
like,
the
we are
record.
going to disgust you as much as possible. And everybody, like the strippers are all shitting, and we're hearing people shit. And it's,
Yeah.
and,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm like, but this is like right after another disgusting scene. Like, I think there's like 10 minutes of Weredeer plot in this whole thing. And that part I enjoyed. I'm like, this is kind of cool. I kind of wish we were just getting this Weredeer movie. I get it. It's Troma. You guys are having a lot of fun making this movie. That's awesome. But if the intent is to just gross you out and disgust you, you have succeeded. Quiet. And I'm never going to condone a baby killing. You lost me at the baby killing.
So
That's just
interesting.
That's just
That one lost you.
fucking unneeded.
the so Ben actually
It was so
Well,
cute
well,
at the end
first
when
off-
the baby was in the carrier.
It was
man.
terrible.
I was like,
The-
oh, look at that cute
Yeah,
little
they
baby.
credited
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and then they
Introducing
put it in
the baby.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
That's awful.
his friend had a baby. They wanted to put
She
it in
was
the movie.
adorable.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
story
and then
there.
they put it in the fucking
So
Yeah, but
Washing
with the
machine.
dryer sheet.
Oh,
dryer
Yes.
sheet. Yeah. Oh, that was considerate. Though. That made all the difference.
Fluffy.
What's really funny? So nobody. You guys are killing me.
That's our job.
They're not actually gay. If you listen to them, it's time with the fellers, and that's what they
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's
So they're
Okay.
like, and
Yeah.
when his
I
wife's
thought
like,
that was
Right.
fucking
"Are
hysterical.
you gay?" And he's like, "Yeah." No, what? No,
Yeah,
I'm not
no.
gay.
Yeah, right.
I just had time with the fellers.
Right. So their time with the fellers stuff.
Yeah.
We'll put it that
Yeah.
way. That's fine.
So, yeah, not.
Is that what we're going to
gay.
start calling this?
Yeah.
It's Wednesday night. Time for
Wednesday
the
night,
fellas.
time for the fellers.
That whole scene, I think it's
And-
the best scene of the movie, honestly.
So,
I really do.
All
I
the
think
stuff
it's the funniest,
inside the tent.
I think it's
too?
the funniest
oh,
scene
my God.
of the movie when they're jerking each other off, and then they pull up their dicks, and then there's two dicks on the antler, and one guy's like, "All right, my dick, your dick, our beautiful dicks." Dude, there's some funny shit in this movie.
I think
I agree with that scene.
I bet you do.
The one part. Fuck off. No, but the one part that, like, for me was just a little too much was the butt and like.
Oh, the very
antler in
end?
the
Yeah,
butt?
when the
Yeah.
antler, like, yeah, no, that was a little.
the antler in the butt. I didn't like the poopy butt at the end.
at the very
I was not a
that's
fan
the one I
of.
wasn't a fan of
again,
either.
Again, that is
Well,
the,
the movie opens up with the shithouse credit thing, and I was like, wow, fully animated. Yeah.
I don't want to listen. I don't want to come off as prudish. I have loved disgusting stuff, but it was like just one right after the other. Yeah, I needed a chance.
There was no putting on the brakes.
Yeah, just be like, okay, give me a second without like somebody doing something disgusting, so I can appreciate what I just saw, process it at least, and then go to the next one. But it's like constant, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, this was about a weredeer. Remember?
Yeah, remember the Weredeer?
Yeah, here's a Weredeer scene, and that was really good. That was cool. So I anything with a guy running around in a costume, again, frolicking. The frolicking thing is the best part.
Prancing through the forest like Bambi.
Yeah, and the Bambi animated
Yes, exactly.
thing.
The animated segment.
That was great.
That
too.
was funny.
Yeah. But I Brian had said something earlier. Or somebody said something. I think it might have been you, Josh. I think if we had watched this all together like we originally planned to do, I think we would have had more fun. I think we would have had a great time.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely something you need to
it's an experience
in a group and riff on and have fun with, as opposed to like sitting at home with a beer watching it and it just there's no one to talk to.
Right.
Your wife's not going to sit down and watch that shit.
No. I was watching it on my
I've
laptop.
tried numerous times.
And Kathy was sitting next to me on the couch, and I had the headphones on. She kept looking over like, what the fuck?
Right.
What the fuck? What are you watching? And I'm like, it's for the show. We're going to watch Curse of the Weredeer for tomorrow.
It's homework, I promise.
It's homework.
Not going to make you watch it.
Good times.
But, yeah. Oh, sorry, Derek. Go ahead.
You want to?
So,
all right.
I just
What'd you
want to
think of
clarify the baby. So
There's nothing to clarify.
It was not real.
It's an adorable baby. That's an adorable baby.
So here's what happened with that. Lloyd Kaufman helped produce it.
Right.
And Ben, every time Lloyd says something, you know what we should do? You should do this in the movie. They were like, you have to do what Lloyd says, right?
And was it Lloyd?
So Lloyd was like, well, it would be funny if you killed the baby somehow. And it was just like spur of the moment, like not in a conversation. So Ben wrote it in. He had Jimmy write it in, I guess. And he's like, we put the baby in the dryer, Lloyd, and we spin dry the baby, and then we have the scene afterwards with the really and Lloyd's like, well, why would you do that? and Ben's like,
you suggested it, man.
He's like, well, Lloyd, that was your idea. And Lloyd's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess it was pretty funny. And then he just changed his mind, and they were like, you know what? It fit the movie.
Is he actually there? Is Lloyd Kaufman? Was it Lloyd Kaufman?
No, it was green screen.
He
But he didn't come at any
He's
point.
75, dude. He stays in New York a lot.
Oh.
He does travel, but not often.
Yeah.
So how did these guys get involved with Lloyd and Trauma?
Ben had interned with Troma and then went back out to Tennessee.
Okay.
But worked on #Shakespeare Shitstorm, which is where Shithouse Productions came from.
Okay.
Because they had like 30 people in one house, and they all had to share the shitter. And,
that's funny.
Yeah, so...
And that poster was one of the ones that were on the wall there.
So
in
it's
one
not
of
just a clever name.
sets. It is not just a clever name.
I love
Not
Derek.
just a pretty face.
Derek in the movie, the star, Derek. I love you, Derek, if you're listening. I love you to pieces. But that man can blow up a toilet like there is no tomorrow.
I'm sure it was in the movie at some point. It seemed like everybody was blowing up a toilet at some point.
Well, that also that's that 90s humor of girls pooping. You know what I mean? Because you'll notice that
Harold and
Another teen movie.
Playing battle shits.
Here's this hot stripper in the can and then you'll notice that the other stripper, Jazz, was in the jail scene pooping.
She should say
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like the girls are hot girls poop.
It's food for thought.
Yeah, you didn't get it, Mark. It's
I caught it.
It's elevated, Mark.
Elevated humor. I got it all right.
yeah, good times.
Derek, how about you?
No, the more that we're talking about it, the more I think I like a little bit more than I thought I did.
Oh, look at this.
No. But
Every time I'm here for a movie.
no, but I
Here we go.
no, because the last time it was only the Sharkenstein. I hated Sharkula, and I will always hate Sharkula. But no,
Draw a line
I don't know. I
somewhere.
just like that scene. At first, I was like, I don't like all that over the top stuff. But then it's like you got to accept it for what it is. Like that's what these movies are, and maybe I wasn't expecting so much, even though that, like I said, that opening when when it started is the shithouse logo.
Yeah.
So I should have known, but no, like you guys had a lot of fun, and that's good. and there were things that were funny, and I got a kick out of some stuff. It was not my type of movie.
I'll bet it.
I'll just say that, like, because it's not. Yeah,
totally.
I respect what it took to make it. I respect the fact that like it's what you guys were intending. So like, more power to you. But yeah, like the excessive stuff is a little much for me. So not something I would go back to a lot.
Brian.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Mark on this. I was watching this, like I said, on my laptop all by myself. I don't know if like we were saying, it would have been better in a group, I think. Watching it alone is not the way to watch this movie. That being said, it was very over the top. There were a lot of things that I did like about it, though, Tito, like you mentioned. Not so much the tent hunting scene, but I like the little things. Like, what was it? The rabid skunk Bigfoot thing that they kept. Skunk ape. And then he saved him at the end.
Yep.
He was in the road. Thank you, skunk ape. That I laughed my ass off at. He's like waving.
Can I add something really quick now that I think about it? I did like the idea of having the sax guy.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I liked.
Saxophone,
That was awesome.
Yes.
Score, and then you see the sax guy, and then
That reminded me of Airplane.
Yes.
Yes.
And the scientist, who I also liked.
I liked the scientist.
The actor who was the scientist, I thought was really good.
That's my buddy Connor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, he makes mention of the sax guy, right? Is it him?
Yeah,
that
at
says
the
we
end.
lost
Yeah.
our sax guy. I thought, oh, that's a nice little meta moment.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Brian.
That's pretty much it. You guys have said pretty much everything I wanted to say. I will give this another watch. I think it deserves another watch, and probably in a group.
Yeah.
So I got to see the editing process, and I got to see the first editor, Ben Terry, who did some stuff I really liked, some stuff not so much.
Ben Terry was the guy that shut the door in your face, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tito's paying
you guys
attention.
are buds, though, right?
Yeah, we're in a tag team called
you
the
guys-
Married Dads.
Oh, Married Dads.
Yeah,
right,
yes.
right.
We're on
Okay.
set in the strip club, and
I'm
we were
cool with
like
that.
trying to back up from the girls.
Oh, yeah.
So here's a funny story. So Jazz, the
I can
two-
see your cervix.
I did not say that to anybody. But
Are those fallopian tubes?
I think I can see her kidneys.
yeah. So all the strippers were waiting for something on set, right? So we were all sitting at a table, and Jazz and I are talking, and she played Star, right? So she's a beautiful young girl, right? And I love Jazz. Her and I still talk to this day. She's an amazing person. So her and I were sitting together, and I'm in the suit, and she had on a shirt and whatever, and I was like, oh, we should take a selfie. And she takes the shirt off, and she's got this mesh see-through outfit for the stripper scene. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like trying to get my camera, but I don't have
Hands.
So, and I don't have thumbs. So I'm trying to unbutton the costume, and I'm like bending over, like fiddling, and everyone thought I was gonna whip out my dick. So I finally get it over, like, oh my god, and everybody's like, and they were all like ready to pounce, and I was like, I'm just getting my camera, it's in my pocket.
All those watery mouths.
Yeah, and
gun hungry.
You could see it on every woman's face on set, and they're like, and Chaz was like, I thought you were going to whip your dick out right there. And I was like, no, I just reaching for the camera real slow. It was in my pants pocket.
I would have told her first, though. So
I wasn't thinking
I would have
about it.
been
I was
like, hey,
let's
can
take a selfie.
I get a picture of you and then proceed to...
Well, that's what I said.
Usually
I was
when
like,
somebody
hey, let's
asks
get
that, they're not
selfie.
wearing a squid costume, though.
Yeah. That was the only,
I think that would be all the more reason to ask first because they're in the squid.
That was the only time I thought my life was in jeopardy.
That's all right. They saw the phone and,
And I will say...
Honestly, that's kind of cool. As over the top as it is, it's still a movie, and there are ways to behave when you're making
Yeah,
a movie.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So
And there's still
in the
some,
so that strip
decency
club
behind
scene,
it.
like I'll get back to the editing in a second. The strip club scene, there's lines in film, like when the people were naked, they were like, everyone needs to be out of the room,
Right. Close
for
set.
obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
The scene where Nadia's in the shower, we weren't even allowed in the house. They're like, everybody out unless you need to be here.
Right.
It was like sound guy, camera guy,
Director.
second camera guy, director. That's it. You know, and that's how it rolls.
Yeah.
When Nadia was stripping, they were like, you in the front, big guy in the front, fighter in the front.
Yeah.
Nobody touches Nadia. Make sure. That was so that's what you do.
Yeah.
The girls that were walking around, they had vigilant, like, husbands were there, boyfriends were there, like there were people there specifically like, you stay next to this girl, nothing out of hand.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's how it was. But it wasn't like it was just known. Like the director was like, hey, sit next to this person, don't let anybody bother her. If somebody's bothering her, but get her out, you know?
Yeah,
it was that kind of thing. And we had a lot of extras, and what I will say, it's a safe set all the time. It's like trauma rule number 1, safety to people, right? No one gets hurt. So when we had the extras, we were on the border of Kentucky and Tennessee. So all the extras were the good old boys. And when I drove by, I'm telling you, it looked like a shed.
Yeah.
Like it was a giant like barn, and I was like, "Is that the strip club?" They're calling it the strip club, right? Now here you go to a strip club, and
there's
the whole
neon,
there's
like,
brick and mortar.
like we
Giant
got the
parking lot.
Yeah, we got zebra print on the whole building, and I'm driving by. I'm like, oh, fuck this barn. You know, I got a car full of girls. I ain't dropping them off here. Are you kidding me? Fuck that. So I keep going, and I'm like, we're like in Kentucky, isn't it? Before Kentucky, they're like, that had to be it. I'm like, okay. And it's all pickup trucks, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why everybody there drives a pickup truck. I love you, Big Dan and company. And you go back, and they all got the gun racks, and like it's normal out there, but it's not normal. Everyone just has hidden guns here, you know. And so we got on set, and all the guys were at the bar, and Liam, I love Liam. He did My Bloody Banjo. I was talking about that.
Yeah,
Liam's the British cop,
yes.
right?
Oh, okay.
Yes. Amazing guy. Love him to death. Eating Miss Campbell, he just did it. And so it's about a shooter, like a school shooter. So I would highly recommend everybody see it, because when you watch it, you're like, as an American, you're like, should I be laughing at this? But for him on set, he was like standing next to me, and Ben stands up, and he's like, no weapons on set, no real guns. And the good old boys got up. Some of them got up. And he's like, what the fuck? And he's hiding behind. I'm like, what's the matter? And he's like, you guys got guns? I'm like, well, I don't got a gun. And he's like, well, they do. He's like, why do all Americans have guns? He's like, and you don't even think about it when you live here.
Right.
But he's not from here. So he's fucking petrified. And then he's like, no real knives either. And then somebody said something.
And the rest of them got up.
No handguns. That still counts. So
No projectiles. No.
And Liam's like, what the fuck? He's like, what's wrong with you people? And it's really awesome to meet somebody who's not. They're of the culture, but they're not of the culture. He loves America. He comes here all the time. He makes movies here sometimes. But for him, when he sees all these school shootings every other day, he's like, you people are fucked up.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen there.
Yeah.
So when he makes a movie about it, he's like, it's political satire. Whereas when it's here, you look at it and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, that's us. Like, it is so ordinary.
It hits close to home.
Yeah. It's holding that mirror up.
Yeah. I mean, my daughter had a school shooter the last year she was in high school. She's in college now. And now she worries about it at college.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
You're not
It's
safe
like,
there
it's a real
either. You're
thing.
not safe anywhere.
Nope.
Yeah.
At the movie theater and the supermarkets.
And bowling.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So I would recommend those movies from Liam if you can find them.
Yeah.
That's a story there. And the sets were always very, very safe. Like everything, even though it looks like a lot of shit looks stupid, it was really safe. Yeah. Like everything got tested. Like,
can I say all the adjectives that she used to describe her breasts were wonderful?
Oh my God, that was funny.
That was awesome. Yeah.
I was like, oh, I like that she keeps
adding to it.
adding to it.
Keep going.
I was like, yes, absolutely. Yeah, that one too.
That checks
For
out.
sure.
Yep.
That's what you do to make the movie a little longer, right?
Exactly. Like
the
Goes Wrong show.
Just add some extra adjectives to keep the length of the film going.
I wish you guys were there at the end. Nadia was completely completely naked and she was painted. And her
Oh, it's
her
the
husband had
deer,
to
the
leave
doe.
Yeah.
because they had wrestling practice he had to go to the next day or something. And she was there, and every guy in the place was just like jaw on the ground, and I'm like, guys, can we just film? And they were like, I'm like, let's go.
I did like that makeup. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
a cool
The makeup
take
on
it
her,
for the-
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to RJ Young. So Doug Sackman did the beginning part. I think he did all the dick ripping in the front. I wasn't there for that. Doug Sackman, I guess, was there and left. So I don't know what exactly he did. While I was there, RJ Young did all the special effects, like the legs. That was RJ Young. The
Yep.
pooping was RJ Young.
Yep.
The paint job was RJ
Yeah.
Young.
The guy's head coming
all
off.
of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is like spot on. I got to help him with a few special effects things because I was just doing whatever needed to be done.
Yeah.
And what a fucking good guy. RJ, if you're listening, I love you. You're a talented dude.
Nice.
Yeah, it's super good stuff.
Yeah.
Like he made that shit work with no budget.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
like, well, I got this.
Yeah.
And he was like just mixing shit, and he's like, you got any mustard?
Yeah.
Mustard's common. And we're like, yeah, I guess.
It's common.
Yeah.
You know, like he was just using what he could find.
Yeah. And
look, a
necessity is
bag
the
full of
mother of
dicks.
invention, man. That's
Yeah.
MacGyver.
just make it
Found
work.
this bag
MacGyvered
full
it.
of dicks over here. What are you gonna do with this?
Well, you know what? So here's a funny. Ben was telling me he had to travel with the dicks.
With the dicks.
Right, and he had to stop
First class.
and they opened his thing at TSA, and the guy was like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "You're not gonna believe this, but those molds are actually for a movie." And the guy, "I'm sure it is." And he's like, "Oh," and then he had to explain that.
Not that kind of movie.
You see, the Weredeer rips the guy's dicks off, and they're stuck on the ailers. And
Yeah, and
After 7 moons.
so good times, good times.
all right, well that's okay. That's
So-
understandable.
Have a nice flight, sir.
Yeah.
I promise it's a bomb. It's a bomb. I promise. It's not dicks. It's a bomb. I'm a terrorist. It's a bomb.
Yeah.
I say, let him crash.
So back to the editing. So I saw Ben Terry's before and after, and I saw John Bergio finished it up before and after, and I like stuff from both. So
So did they edit the entire film, each of them, or did they each pick a half?
well, Ben Johnson did some editing. Ben Terry did some editing. Then Ben Terry stopped, and John Bergio stepped in after that. Most of the movie was edited, but there was still stuff that they needed to. So John Bergio did a few close-ups and some other things and cut scenes up more or put more scenes together. As you can tell, the sound transfer is not 100% at the end. I have the I'll get into that in a minute. But watching, so I had watched every draft of the movie almost, because I was like, Ben, I just want to make sure that I see what I see, and he was allowing me to make suggestions, which was nice, and I love Ben for that. And Ben and I have gotten really close. So it's not that he listened, because I'm not a filmmaker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the two guys together, I wish they had worked together from the start, because he would have.
The two different editors, you mean?
Yeah, I think it would have been the bomb. Like, it would have been really good editing. But then at the end of the day, I've seen it so many times that when I went to New York to see it at TROMA'S, I was like, oh, we're just going to watch the same movie. But then when I was with everybody, then I started noticing everything that I had seen 100 times. Things were funny.
Yeah.
So like when you watch it, and this movie specifically, like you definitely need to watch in a group, because you're like, what the fuck? And you start laughing, and everyone feeds off each other in the
Yeah.
theater. So people were hooting and hollering in the theater, and I'm talking, the theater was packed, and then the bar that we showed it at Beauty Bar, was full.
Yeah.
And everybody was going nuts for different scenes. It was insane. So in a group environment, 10 times better to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Because I had seen it 3 or 4 times, and I didn't see the final edit. I think I don't think I saw the final edit until that day, but I knew all the scenes by heart.
Right.
So yeah, it's really interesting when you watch it as a group. You will like it a lot more. I would suggest to do that if you ever want to see it again.
Yeah.
And how was my acting?
You looked at the camera a couple of times.
Like I said before, we started recording.
Contact with me.
Yeah.
I noticed that Josh had the last line in the movie, but I said I couldn't make it out because the music was playing over it. And I rewound that thing like 10 to a dozen times to try to make out what you said. And you said...
I inked.
And I... Now, if...
It was a little more gravitas, like, I inked.
Yeah. And I could not figure out what the fuck you were saying. I'm like, God, all right, it's lost. It's lost. I got to ask him.
And then in the strip club, I got to say, I inked.
Oh, really?
When she was dancing, I was like, I inked. And they were like, say it louder. And I had to do it like 6 times, and I'm like screaming. And everybody's trying not to laugh. And I'm like, I inked. Like, yeah, it was, I don't even know if that made it into the final cut, but it was an experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my 50 seconds of fame. And I have the face of behind the camera, I believe. When I see when I was like looking, I'm like, ooh, I'll just be a PA for now. I'll go run errands and drive people around because you're a rough looking dude on camera.
So this movie is made through Troma, kind of, sort of?
No, it is like the official, like, I think it's the 9th Troma release.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it is a Troma movie. So Troma... They're going to do all the releasing. They're going to do the...
They'll distribute it?
Like hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm is starting to die down. That was the 2020 film where all these people met.
For Troma.
Or 2019, 2020, whatever.
Yeah.
So that they still show that in theaters. That'll probably go to the app next year. And then they'll do a run with this movie.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
There were like tons of like Toxic Avenger t-shirts. I saw like the Toxic Crusader logo, posters for...
Well, that was actually Ben's house.
Is it?
Oh,
really?
okay.
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
Yeah, so here's the thing: when you work for Troma, they pay you in Troma goods.
Oh, okay.
So they're like
you get merch.
Yeah. So I've worked a Troma.
Was that Poultrygeist?
Yeah,
I saw that movie years ago.
I saw the Poultrygeist poster.
Oh
yeah, I remember that one.
Yep.
Yeah. So I did.
I like that one.
Everything that's in the house, I got to set up. I was art department that day.
Oh, nice.
So I like all those posters. I'll put them up.
Some of your finest work there, Josh.
All those water bottles that you see stuffed in the corner, I went and got those. It was also like the job was, as art department, you have to make sure that nothing's in the scene that doesn't belong there.
Yeah.
And you had like 20 people rushing in a scene to fix shit. And everybody had food and drinks and like,
Right.
then you're walking around trying to pick all the like fucking slobs.
Yeah.
Entire cast, all slobs.
See, and this is why a Starbucks cup ends up on the Khaleesi's table there.
There you
in,
go.
The last
There you
episode of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
And the world lost their collective
somebody got
minds.
fired for that one. Yeah. Good times.
The thing is, I'm going to remember a lot of stuff from this.
Yeah.
I have forgotten everything about Game of Thrones. So
See?
that will...
Push that right out.
That's
There you
what
go.
I mean. And we'll get into this
Keep the
later.
poop jokes to yourself,
Like a
Derek.
poop.
Yes. So this definitely resonates, not resonates. That's not a word.
So,
it resonates. With
Josh, did I read that this movie originally just started as like a trailer, like they were doing a fake trailer, like before the pandemic, and then they decided to expand it into a regular movie, a full feature?
Nice.
Yeah. Jimmy, the writer, I don't know why they did this trailer. And Shithouse...
Was it just for fun? Just for shits and giggles, so to
They made
speak?
short films before this.
Yeah.
And I've seen all of them. They actually have a Shithouse, like, all their friends gave them their shorts, and they have shorts, and it's like a full collection that you can buy. I don't know where. I had a box at the Dark Arts Festival that I was supposed to sell, but I was so busy I couldn't sell.
Yeah, you were. You were running around like the chicken with your
they
head
were
cut
in the
off,
theater,
man.
and I hope nobody swiped any. Because I just kind of like put them down. I was like, Chrissy, can you sell these or do something with them? And then I ran and I never saw the box again.
They were gone.
So anyway, they do some good shit. And it started as like just a fun, like, let's make a trailer. And then it started with Joe and Derek. And they're the two guys that came up with it. And Joe, I love Joe. He's the guy that played the hunter with the ears missing.
Oh, yeah.
He is so funny. And the scene where he's leaning over and he's like, oh, look at my phone. You owe me $5 for this skunk ape picture. Yeah, I love Joe. He was an amazing guy. He actually got the Weredeer tattoo, just the W. He got it right where you shoot a deer.
Oh, really?
I was like, why would you get it there? And he's like, well, that's where you shoot a deer. And I was like, oh. I'm like, I don't kill deers. I don't know.
It's accuracy.
But they came up with the idea. They did like this short, and then they used that to crowdfund for more money. And then Troma was like, we're gonna make this a Troma movie. And then Troma gave them some.
Nice.
Yeah, not a lot. I mean, you see how much, you know.
But historically, Troma's always been able to do a lot with very
little.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well,
create this.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's very much like when you show up, like, so these two guys, Josh and Austin, came, and Josh had the car that they used, and that's the car that was the original, like, Sergeant Kabuki Man crash. That
Oh, yeah.
That's what the other thing I was going to say. I really liked how they took those cut scenes from the other movies. When
So that is in every Troma movie.
Okay.
And most of the time it's a different car. But he had the exact car, not that same car, but the exact type of car. So Josh came up with his friend Austin. And they were like, hey, we're going to use your car for the movie. And he's like, yeah. And then they ended up doing like, what is that, when they adjust the focus. And then Austin ended up doing like, sound or not sound, he did like lighting and stuff like that, and you just whatever you can do, that's what you're doing. You know, so they make it work. Like they're like,
it's like guerrilla
what
filmmaking.
can you do? Yeah. The behind the scenes was awesome. When they're in the trailer that day, it rained. So
You could hear it.
Yeah. And the cameraman and the director got into an argument, and I was trying to film it, and I didn't get the behind the scenes of that.
Oh, no.
It's like the one thing everybody was like, Josh was filming, completely fucked it up, and I didn't get it. I didn't film it at all. My GoPro stopped, and I was like, damn it. So that one behind the scenes thing, I was responsible for behind the scenes, and nothing I got behind the scenes was usable.
That sucks.
So instead, I fed people's cats and
did laundry.
Yeah,
and
they were
dishes
looking for spots, so I was making phone calls. I was going to the store to get stuff. Like,
that's cool though.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah. I mean, that's like, you know, you're paying your dues.
Yeah,
you know?
But on a set like that, when it's an independent film,
Yeah.
they're like, hey, we need somebody to do this, and you just wait for somebody to volunteer,
Right.
And if they don't, they're like, well, you can do something. If you're just standing there, fucking do it, you know. And that's how it was,
you know. And that's one of those things about these like type of quote bad movies, right? That like I really do respect, and I really like I really get behind about how they're made, the people that are so enthusiastic to be part of it, and then the actors all like when they give their all, like when they go all in on some of these like outlandish over the top characters, like it's impressive that they can do that, like, because not everybody can. And there are plenty of like really bad movies where part of the reason they're really bad and like unwatchable is because you can tell that the people are just miserable.
yeah.
And they know what they're making and they're disappointed by it. Whereas like these guys, like they know what they're doing, they know why they're doing it, and they are all in and excited about it, which, you know, it comes across, you know, across film.
Oh, you could definitely tell everybody was having fun while making this movie.
So if you watch here's something, I feel terrible about this. If this guy's listening, I apologize.
I'm sorry!
So the scene where it's the group of people that are walking around the building with the reporter, and I'm
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
there's a guy holding a camera, and he's fucking walking like Frankenstein, and it's really shaky. And I was like, oh, that's a great crackhead impersonation. Like, I really like that. And then we stopped filming, and we had to go back around the building, and I didn't realize he was walking the same way. So that's how he was walking. He had something wrong with him.
Oh,
and
no.
I was like, oh, you're the best crackhead ever. And then when he was leaving, all his friends were like, yeah, we'll see you later. I'm like, oh, yeah, that was kind of rude. And I had no idea that I'm like making fun of this guy because he was walking different and he was shaking, and I had no idea. And I felt like such an asshole. And I was like, dude, that's perfect. The cameraman that shakes. Like,
It's so natural. It's almost like it's your actual walk.
It's amazing. So, shaky guy, if you're listening, I'm very sorry.
Shaky guy, he's gonna appreciate that too.
Yeah, I don't know his name. He was one of the extras that showed up for the day.
We had nothing to do with it. Just
Don't get mad at us, please.
The three geeky dads told me to say that.
we don't condone any of that. No.
Yeah, good times.
Shout out Shaky Guy.
Shout out to the Shaky.
Shout out Shaky Guy.
So speaking of the bad
show,
movies, should we?
You want to? So, well, anything else before we get into our roundtable discussion? So, what do we think? Do we recommend it? After talking about it, do we recommend it
in a group?
Do we?
Yeah,
do we-
in a group. I would
what
say.
do we say?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think it's an experience, and it's definitely like with people. I think
Yeah.
we all
Absolutely.
kind
I'll
of
go with
agree on
that.
I think it would be a good one to riff on.
Yeah. And
Definitely one worthy of drinking till it's good.
you have to drink a lot. No. Listen,
You're the one guy I thought would love it.
I am gonna go
me
with.
too.
I am gonna go with Derek on this one. It looked like everybody was having a lot of fun with it. It definitely resonates with you. And like I said, I've seen so much shit that it's forgettable. I won't forget this.
It's it's very
And you
relatable.
will- Well,
Everybody
no,
poops.
Everybody does poop.
We all poop.
Everyone gets their dick ripped.
There might have been some
Everybody
stuff
gets a
more
different-
relatable to you, Derek, than me, but I will say because Derek and I, we come from that era of like making low budget, no budget filming. It is not easy to do. And the fact that these guys did it, I got to give you props. I mean, it's for me, you just could have just kind of spread it out a little bit more. Actually, you spread a lot of things out. Maybe you shouldn't have.
Oh my.
But
A lot of cheeks.
a lot of cheeks. But dude, here we are talking about it.
There was ping pong balls.
There
coming out
was.
of the Gucci.
Oh, that was funny.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Wasn't
that was
a
funny.
Wasn't that a South Park bit?
Yeah. Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
At the USO show.
Okay.
I was waiting for
But,
him to catch one in his mouth.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been the
Will there be a
icing on the
sequel?
cake.
Do you know anything about a
So
sequel?
there was talks, but I doubt it. Like,
Yeah.
it depends. Like on Troma.
Said all it needed to say.
Yeah, like Troma. Yeah, the thing with Troma, they may make another. I mean, how many Nukem Highs did they do? Right,
A lot.
You know,
Yeah.
like
A lot.
maybe if everybody's
So if
down,
people
but,
like really gravitate to this, and
if people really gravitate
Yeah.
to it, maybe. And I know people that were in the film were like, you should make another movie with just my character. You know?
Squid Guy. Squid Guy versus Shaky Guy?
Squid versus the Shakes.
Let's make some calls. Make that happen.
I want to see more of Weredeer woman at the end. I do. I thought that was an impressive.
Weirdo.
effect.
Right?
Weirdo.
Yeah, the weirdo.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
Weirdo.
There you go. There's your sequel.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
And Nadia's fucking great. Like Nadia and Derek really fucking
Yeah.
killed it.
You know who he remind me of is what's his name? Clifton. He was in. Oh God, he's in a ton of shit.
He's great.
No, he is.
I know that guy. He was in the thing.
He was in Boondock Saints too.
I haven't seen.
He was like their new buddy.
I don't know.
Clifton Curtis?
No, not Curtis.
Tito, look it up. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. Sorry, I stopped the whole fucking show.
And this is where the magic of editing comes in later.
Derek, you're becoming my mom with movies, man. You're that one with that guy who was in that.
Josh, welcome to our outtake.
I don't have the memory of this.
Vinny!
Clifton Collins Jr.
Collins Jr.
Yeah, I know you're talking
He,
about.
you
he
were
looked
right.
like
You
him.
were right. You said
And the
that.
guy in the very first scene, one of the hunters looked like Joshua Jackson. I honestly.
Oh my God, he did. Yes.
I was like, holy shit, they got Joshua Jackson to do this movie, and then I'm like, oh no, that's not him.
Yeah, that's Dollar Store Joshua Jackson.
It's Ocean State Job.
I did like Lloyd Kaufman as the governor, though. He
Yes.
reminded me of, speaking of Dollar Store, he reminded me of Dollar Store Mel Brooks as the governor in
Spaceballs?
the governor in Blazing Saddles.
Oh, Blazing Saddles.
Lepetamine.
Well, he was an elected official in Spaceballs,
Governor.
to be fair.
To be fair. To be fair.
Well, to be fair.
Oh, don't say to be fair. Hate when people say to be fair. It sounds like to be fair.
To be fair. Well, to be fair.
Yeah, and he likes Ricky Martin. Everybody's just whacking off at this movie. Just
Oh, yeah.
Lot
I
of
didn't really
whacking.
get that, but I didn't get
If
that.
you don't
Lloyd
leave this
Kaufman.
movie
Whacking,
horny,
lot
then
of
there's a
whacking.
problem with you.
yeah, I would have called it Curse of the Whack Deer, but that's just me.
Bunch of wackos and
doing that,
weirdos.
Ted. You
I want to
whack
know
it
how he
off,
got
Bobby.
bit. How did he get bit? Did I miss something?
You did.
Yeah, you must
he
have.
totally got bit. It was
He
like
got
a very
bit.
cool.
During the 69?
During the fella
Yeah,
night.
it was a cool,
Yeah.
and it was a cool
Fellas.
like effect. It tore his arm off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got bit in the arm.
During
It
the
bit him.
sixth,
No. It's when he went to help the guy
Yeah,
out,
and
and,
he-
the guy's the weird dude.
Oh,
Remember, he
that's
pulls
right.
over to the side of the road.
On his way to the
yeah.
camping trip.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
But the
Which
Weredeer
was
That was
is
the
in
piece
the
I saw
road.
last night.
Which
as
was a
bait.
good effect.
And then I
that
started
that
from
right
where I
there
left
was a cool
off.
effect.
Okay.
That's a smart Weredeer.
Huh?
That's a smart Weredeer.
There's-
I mean, they have their
yeah.
wits about them, right? The Weredeer, some are good, some are bad, right? He was a good one. The other one was a
They
bad
did.
one.
There's a whole colony of them now.
I'm surprised that you like
a
the
herd of
movie with
Weredeer.
the like Celtic god that pees on people, but not
Rawhead
the
Rex?
Weredeer that pees on people.
I do.
It's surprising to me.
Yeah,
is.
there was a lot of
Surpri-
deer piss in this movie
It's
too.
surprising to me.
Delicious,
too.
delicious
Yeah,
deer
it
piss.
is.
There was also
As the
another.
corner
You know
said.
why that got in touch with my Irish roots, Tito?
Is that what it was?
This one did not. I can't relate to deer hunters.
Just stop touching your Irish
Middle
root in public,
America.
will you?
You might relate to this, Tito. Did you catch the underlying like blame the black people?
Oh
Did you
yeah,
see
that
that?
was hilarious.
Yeah.
But not in a funny,
But-
but funny, but not
Yeah,
funny. Yeah,
so-
yeah.
And
It was a black guy. Don't worry about it. We blamed it on the black guy. And he's like, perfect.
And they're like, we blamed it
That's
on
what
a
I was
black
watching the
gentleman.
movie, and I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, and I
There's
was
some
like,
kind of
Was that Wayne,
social-
Wayne Warden?
There's a social commentary happening in this movie that I was not expecting.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I was
Drop
like,
some
well,
truth.
And then I was watching it, and I was like, oh, but it's funny. I was like, oh, the only black person I've seen is the stripper girl, and then she got arrested. And I was like, okay, there we go. Only black person in town. I did like the guy who played the game warden's brother. I thought he seemed like he just seemed like a really nice guy.
Yeah. Wayne Warden.
Game warden's
Wayne
brother.
Warden, yeah.
Wayne Warden.
Oh,
Yeah.
what is that his name?
Yeah, Wayne Warden.
That is Kevin Titty.
He seemed like a
Yes.
like just like a good dude.
I saw that was his last
Yeah.
name too.
He seemed like a good dude.
He's a comedian. He is a really nice dude.
Yeah.
And he was funny in Tennessee. They took a break, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna walk down to the store." And he was wearing the orange getup, and he started
Oh, no.
walking. He turned around and came back. I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm like wearing a prison outfit in the middle of,
I'm
Yeah,
blacking
in
on
the middle of Tennessee, walking down the road.
in Westmoreland, Tennessee." He's like, "I've never been here. I don't know what happens here."
Good idea. Bad idea.
I liked him because he was one of the more subtle guys. When he talked, it was calming. and
Oh, yeah.
soothing when he spoke.
was
I
very
said I
subtle.
like this guy because everybody else is just
it's okay, Mark.
like
It's okay.
Larry the Cable Guy on a bender, and all of a sudden there's this. Okay, we're good. Oh, this brings me to a happy place. So I got to give him MVP.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny that they're brothers.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
I like that too.
So I'm glad you liked it.
I thought it was fun. I don't know what's going on here. I really don't.
This is like the Bizarro
Mark was gonna
podcast.
love it, and you were gonna
This
hate it.
is
So.
Well, there
Bizarro.
was some
This is
text about
Bizarro.
like not liking.
Don't
it,
embarrass us.
liking, us. No. I'm just
No, you
thinking
can
of like
embarrass
they're
us.
listening.
It's fine.
Frankenstein and Sharkula.
Oh yeah.
You were like, oh, those movies were better, and I was watching the movie, and I was like, those movies, no, they're shit by comparison. I know you like those movies.
just-
I don't.
just
But I
Sharkenstein.
thought this movie was fun as hell.
I'm amazed.
They're just fucking.
I'm amazed.
The dude's just tearing people's
I'm
dicks off. It's
amazed
fucking
with you,
hysterical.
Tito. This is like the.
It's so absurd that it becomes hilarious to me.
Yeah, but we have shown you stuff like that
yeah,
before.
but I can.
And you've, like,
it
gotten
feels
angry.
effortless when I
well,
see
angry for you.
this felt like effortless. Like they weren't trying, but it just made sense. It was funny, and I could tell they were all having fun doing it.
I think
sometimes
Josh
when
made
I
him.
see these movies, it's like, oh man, these guys are trying way too hard for me to get a
to
reaction
sell this,
from me,
yeah,
and it's
to, like-
not, and I'm not getting it.
Right.
I could tell, like watching this movie, that they didn't give a shit what I thought of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
You know,
they don't
they
care.
weren't.
you know who
Interesting.
did not have fun?
Who?
Ben's wife, Jen. She had 10 people living in her house for
Wow.
literally a
Oh,
month.
Oh,
But
wow.
at least she didn't
And I
have to
was
feed
like,
the cat.
Jen,
Right.
if you're listening, you are the best woman on the planet. Ben has no idea how lucky he is. And I still have his business card. He lost his credit card every day on set.
What
We
about
had
his
to
house
stop.
key?
At one point, I was like, he's like, where's my credit card? I'm like, it's in my pocket. What do you need? And he's like, oh, why do you have it? I'm like, because you can't be trusted.
We'll discuss this when we get back home.
You can't be trusted. Just ask your skinny cat.
And I expect that litter box changed.
I've been shitting in it all week. What, you got a mountain lion? What the fuck?
Good times. Good times.
So that's Weredeer.
Yeah.
Curse
That's
of the
weird.
Just Weredeer being
Just
Weredeer.
Watch it in a group.
Yes.
Have fun watching it.
Yeah, but this
And,
thing
Very
is
Troma.
not
Check it out.
available to watch yet.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
No.
that's right. When
No,
it
that's right.
comes
Special
out,
pre-screener.
we got
Yeah.
a pre-screener.
So it has been shown once in Tennessee, in the town that it was shot in,
Was that
which
it?
was Westmoreland. I think they showed it in Gallatin.
Mm-hmm.
I did not get to make it out there for the first screening, and then they did TROMA'S,
Right,
which is
in
the
New
film
York.
festival in New York, and they showed it there, and that was like completely fucking.
How many days is that? Dance.
I think it's 3.
Yeah.
I made it to 1. I made it to the whole day. Really nice to see everybody, but New York is a lot.
Yeah.
It sure is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to stay there.
Or-
I
or-
was actually supposed to.
Or take a
but-
bike taxi.
Yeah. Me, actually, the scientist.
Next
Connor,
time, baby. Next time.
Connor and I were going to stay with James, the sound guy, and Bergio, who did the editing. But they already had Joe and Joe's wife, who, Joe pretty much created it. And they had Derek and some other people in their apartment. So there was no room.
Yeah.
So we were like, all right, screw it. We'll go back. And then I think I hooked up with Chrissy, gave me a ride back that night, Troma fan Chrissy, because she lives in Connecticut. Connor lives in Mass. I live in Rhode Island. So
I was gonna ask
we
where-
hang out sometimes. So because we're like close.
Yeah.
And I didn't end up staying, but I could have. They were like, they called me the next day, like, "Oh, you could have stayed." It's like, "Fuck you, man, didn't tell me that."
Thanks for telling me now.
Connor was like, "Oh, dude, we could have stayed there," and I was like, "Oh, I could have went twice." Like, but it was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was cool. So, good times.
Nice.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Check it out when it comes out. It's a Troma. People who like Troma like Troma.
I like Troma.
Yeah.
I love
Debatable.
Troma. Apparently not enough though. But like,
I've been doing Troma all month.
But,
Trovember.
Trovember.
That's right, you have.
That's right. That's right.
Trovember.
I started that last year, and it really caused some problems with the group I was in. And now that I'm not with the group, I was like, oh, I'm going to do it again.
There you go.
Good for you, man.
And we were supposed to show
Just
some
1
Troma
month.
films, but yeah, and it's so much fun because they have the Troma Now app, and I
Oh, they
like,
have their own app?
yeah.
Fuck, good
Yeah.
for you guys. Good for Troma.
So I go on the app and I just watch all the horror movies, and then I cancel it. Sorry, Lloyd. You get the first month free, so I usually I let it go for 1 month. I pay for a month and then I cancel it. And then I'm like, but I get it like every couple of months.
Yeah.
I wait for stuff to accumulate because once I'm on there, I'm going through everything.
Yeah.
Like consistently.
Yeah. So you're just going back to check out the new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have a lot of classic stuff like Garden of the Dead is on there, and you can't get it anywhere else that I know of. So I watch Garden every time I get Troma Now.
I haven't
always
seen
watch
that one.
Garden of the
I don't think
Dead.
I've seen that
love
one
it.
either.
I would like to see that one.
And I'm pretty sure they do the black and white. There's a color version and a black and white version. I'm pretty sure they have the
of the
black
Dead.
and white version. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We should bring Trovember to 3GD then and start throwing some Troma.
You guys can't even handle your hammer stuff. Like you're always late.
Yeah, well, we're
It's
late on
always
that,
off.
yeah.
Like, come on. I was supposed to be on in October. You're like, well, we're still doing hammer because we were.
Yeah, I know. And then
We're
some of
doing
us.
Trovember in January. Like,
Hey, it's a podcast called Three Geeky Dads with 5 guys on it. I think we do math? No.
But 7 goes into 28 4 times.
This is a magic 7.
No, it's not our
People
strong
got
suit.
sick. Leave us
Yeah,
alone.
we did.
A lot of people got sick.
Yeah.
People were getting sick.
great.
Left everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. We're still sick.
Pooping out of our butts.
Yeah. We could have been in the movie. A lot of
We
shit.
could have. That would have been a fun one to be.
So let's get into the table discussion. Since we have you here, Josh, you are a huge fan of bad movies. I know Brian and I, Derek too. I mean,
yeah.
we love our bad movies. Tito, I don't know where Tito stands anymore.
No movies
with
that I
bad
like are
films.
bad is the problem. So you might think a movie I like is bad, but I never will, so they can't be bad.
Right.
Why do you get all philosophical
I don't
and
know,
shit?
this is how I
Why,
feel.
you know what I mean? Like even the ones that are meant
Genetics.
to
You
be
know the bad
intentionally
movies you
bad.
like are bad. I don't. That's the only difference.
What is it about movies? You know, the ones that are made purposely. They know that they're bad, or even if they don't, Like, you get a movie like The Room. You get a movie like Plan 9 from Outer Space. You get movies that are celebrated today. And at one point, they were just considered some of the worst movies ever made. But now you have
Like
these
cult followings.
followings.
And people love them.
Or you'll have a
Midnight
film
showings
done
and-
on like Riff Tracks and Mystery Science Theater. It could be a total piece of shit, but once the Riff Tracks guys make it famous, people from the movie show up. Everybody shows up to Riff Tracks. They get their pictures taken
Like Manos.
with
Mitchell.
people from Manos or Mitchell, people from like Time Chasers or Space Mutiny. It's the celebrities from those films will come out. They recently did the movie Rad.
Yeah, they did.
Star of
yeah.
Rad was
They toured with
invited.
that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The star of Rad came out to the show. He got a standing ovation. It's like, so I mean, how bad really are they? Like, what? It's there's something going on now in cinema where at one point films that were frowned upon, and I think thanks to Movie Hosts and Mystery Science Theater, they just have a different level of success than just being a good film. What is it about these bad films that people come back to? Like the shitty ones we know we're going to come back to.
Is Evil Dead a bad film?
No.
Why?
I mean,
Why?
I don't think it's a bad film.
Why you just?
I don't think a
I
lot of
don't
people think it's a bad film.
No. I
I think a lot of people thought it was a bad film.
The
and it
original?
developed quite a following.
No, it was
And
a
it's not the
success
people
right
who-
off the bat.
Right off the jump.
Yeah, Stephen King promoted the movie because he loved it.
Oh,
so
well,
it
Stephen
got,
King loved it,
It got a
then.
huge following right off the
I
bat.
got a huge. Okay.
Friend of the show, Stephen King.
He did write The Mist.
From who?
Yeah.
Did.
Maximum Overdrive's
People
own
who saw it,
Stephen King.
critics who
What's the
saw it,
following though?
the movie
So I'm
audience.
in a demographic that you're not in, and we don't know. We didn't know about Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a cult following behind it that's pushing that movie.
Right.
What's your
Stephen
demographic?
King is not the Evil Dead demographic. not Trauma either. I didn't learn about Evil Dead until I was in my mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
Trauma, I didn't learn about till I was in my
I
mid to late
missed the boat on the
20s.
original Evil Dead too, and
I just-
until I met Mark, until I
Right.
started hanging out with him.
It's a fun movie. It's not a good movie.
I disagree.
No, the first one's. I mean,
It's not a good movie.
The first one's a great movie.
I mean, if Weredeer's not a good movie, that's not a good
well,
movie.
because I always thought. I always
The Room
thought
is
that.
not a good movie.
I always
No.
thought that Evil Dead 2 was just a remake, and he remade it because he realized that people just thought the original was comical.
That's a good movie.
And so they made Evil Dead 2 and they dove into the comedy.
yeah,
So-
a little
That's
more.
that's how I always took it.
Yeah, but they still
like-
balanced the horror of the first movie with it.
So
But I
when
always
you
kinda took
say
it as the
a
first
bad
one.
Movie,
Yeah.
Right. I got
Movies that are
tons of
panned.
heat,
Like
we were at one point I was showing Evil Dead, and I posted a So Bad It's Good Evil Dead. So for me, it's an independent, underground, underrated film, right? It just is one of those films that has no budget. So when you make something that's low budget or independent, and you're talking like in Hollywood, if you have less than $1 million, that's a low budget film. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like seriously, and how many horror movies have $1 million fucking budget now?
Right.
Like none. They're all independent.
Yeah.
And so when I made it, I was like, it's so bad it's good because it's over the top. It's fucking cheesy. They didn't have a lot of money. They just
A lady
did what
gets
they
raped
could.
by a tree.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you can't say that's a Hollywood produced like.
No.
Hollywood was like,
it isn't.
let's kick that under the rug, and people were like out for my head, and I'm like, do you understand that Hollywood shit on this when it was made? And people are like, well, it's good. Yeah, it's good now, but when it came out, no one fucking knew about it. Until Stephen King was like, "Oh, I like this."
That's how he sounds. Too.
And I've read his books,
Like George
fuck
Lucas.
you, Stephen King.
You read his books in his voice.
Your opinion does not matter, Stephen King. You don't define what I like.
It was a beautiful day in Derry.
Needed a clown.
I asked because I wonder, like Rocky Horror, I don't think is a good movie.
Seriously?
It's got a great following, but I don't. It's not
Rocky
a good
Horror
movie.
sucks.
Where do you
It's
stand on
not
this?
a good movie.
What, I
Yeah.
think Rocky Horror is a good movie.
Okay, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
There's fun
I
to-
do love it though, but yeah, it's
There's fun. So we're talking about. There's fun to be had at it. There's fun to be had.
It's
at this
zany.
movie.
It's fucking out there.
The
It's-
Room is
I've never made it to the end.
I've always
The Room is. You take that back.
I've always loved the first half of Rocky Horror.
Oh, me too.
And then once it gets to a certain point, like after Meatloaf bites it,
Yeah.
it just kind of falls apart for me a little
Well,
bit.
because then it's all about the alien part.
That's my favorite.
But I
part
like
when
that part.
when Meatloaf bites it.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But after
Yeah.
that, it just gets a little like, okay.
But these are movies that have, through the camaraderie of film, get these what's the word
Cult
I'm looking-
status.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rocky Horror is probably not one of like the 50 best movies that came out that year, probably.
No.
But it has an amazing fucking following. They play it at midnight. People get dressed up.
It's
they
more
get
memorable
high,
than
they have a
half
great
the
time.
movies that came out at that time.
Well, and again, it's like I think there's certain movies that they're not just movies. You don't just watch them, you experience them.
Right, they're events.
And so like people get excited for movies like that where there's going to be stuff going on and they're going to be overstimulated and if something for everyone.
Yeah, I could see that. But so when you say event, I think Back to the Future or Jurassic Park. Like I'm gonna go to the movie.
Oh yeah,
to
no, not
experience
like
a big thing, but
yeah.
like people go and
No, because
and
I've
dress.
used that phrase
I don't
before,
know.
too.
The people,
So
I've only
you're
seen The Room
saying
once.
like mainstream movies versus underground movies or low budget
because
movies.
when you're saying bad movies, I'm kind of thinking what Josh is thinking, like true independent films.
See, I'm saying bad.
Like a
I'm
truly
talking about
independent
bad
film.
movies that, like, or the majority of bad films where they know,
Like,
they know what they are.
Self-aware.
They're self-aware.
You think High
They're
Doggy
pushing
thought
up there.
he was making a bad movie.
Who?
The High Doggy guy. What's that? What's
Oh,
The Room?
Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau.
We know he thought he was making a good movie,
But everybody
he
else on
realized
that
everybody
set,
was
I
laughing
think,
at
knew.
it. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
did it all along."
Yeah, but he was a little delusional. at
Yeah, he was.
first.
I think that's a special case.
Absolutely.
But,
And
like-
I think
Oh,
it's more.
Tommy's a special case, all right.
Is it though?
I think it's more the background of that story. I
Okay.
think it's behind the scenes of The Room why people dig it. I don't really think it's the film. I
Well,
think
like
it's I think
they're
it's
drawn
the
to the idea,
story.
the whole
the
chaos
stories
about
that
him.
went on behind the film. And then once the disaster,
I don't know.
Once the disaster artist came out, everybody, even more people were on board with
Yeah.
The Room because they saw the semi biopic of how the movie was made, and then you had Greg Sestero's book even before that.
See, but
which
I
people read.
I didn't see Disaster Artist until recently, and I didn't read the book.
You took to that.
There was
movie.
something about it. I think it was just like the dialogue is just, and I think it's one of those things where like you watch it and the whole time I'm thinking, what the fuck am I watching?
Right.
What is going on?
But
but you can't take your eyes off it.
Right.
But
And
you
I'm like,
also saw
did
this
they
movie
really?
in a
Did he
group.
say that? Is that what he said? That's the line? Or like that's what they just did? Like,
Yeah, they're really playing football in tuxedo.
Right. And they're
Why?
like,
The
did she
mystery
really just
behind it.
dismiss the fact that she has cancer? Like, the cancer's back. Okay. moving
Okay,
on.
Mom.
Like, it's so bizarre that I just am in love with it. I
Yeah.
just love like it makes me it's how it affects me is why I like it so much.
It makes you
because
happy.
It does. It brings a smile to my face.
Yeah.
My ear, I'm grinning ear to ear when I'm watching that movie.
I get it. It's
You-
like
you
when I
just like a
watch-
train wreck.
Yeah.
It's not a masterpiece. The acting's awful. He's like just the worst, but I don't know. I'm drawn to it.
Yeah. It's
And
like
so
playing
many other
Nine from
people,
Outer
a ton of
Space.
people are.
Right. And I think that really is what like makes a cult movie a cult movie. It's just people attach themselves. It's like the Venom symbiote. They just like latch on, and it's like this is I don't know why I love this, but I love it, and it's my thing now. This
Right.
is part of who I am. I'm a person who likes The Room.
Yeah, but there's something to be said about the cult followings because nobody's making a movie about people making Back to the Future. There's documentaries on it, but nobody's doing a biopic on Robert Zemeckis right now. No one cares about how Gone when the Wind was made. No one's doing.
They should do one about Back to the Future, though. I want to see the whole thing
the
with
whole-
Eric
I
Stoltz
would-
and
I would love to see
how
the
much
whole
of a
thing. Yeah, no, it
dick he
touched
was.
upon.
Or
Oh yeah, you can
just
talk
watch
to
The
anybody.
Flash.
Yeah. Watch The Flash.
You
yeah,
guys are talking way too mainstream for me.
I know.
Now, okay, so
Well,
we're going.
What's this
for
Back to the
you-
Future you're speaking of?
For you, it's going down further. We're going further down into the barrel
yeah.
for you.
Okay. Well,
The stuff
we're
that you
talking
have
Attack of
recommended.
the Killer Refrigerator.
Yes, exactly.
So shout out to those guys, Mike
Right.
and Mark.
Yep. They were great guys.
Yeah,
Sure.
we.
Yep.
So I pushed them to get to a festival. I showed their film finally. They got distribution with TerraVision.
Oh,
I
nice.
was like, good for you guys.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
And somebody from Screenbox was at the festival, talked to them, watched the movie. Now they're on Screenbox. So I reached out to this individual. I was like, hey, did you have something to do with this? He's like, inadvertently.
Mm.
He's like, I brought it up, but we have a really good thing with TerraVision, so now they're streaming.
Mm.
And I was like, that would have never happened.
Yeah.
You know, like, thank God.
Yeah.
I finally got a hold of them and reached out, and like, now they're like looking to make the second one.
Yeah.
30-something years later.
I know, right?
You know?
Right.
So when you say like, so bad it's good, that's the first thing that comes to my head.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, I ordered the Blu-ray from TerraVision, and I got The Hook of Woodland Heights.
Oh, did you?
I have never seen the whole thing. I only saw half or bits and pieces. I finally saw the whole thing, and I messaged right away. I was like, "This is the best!" And I got to meet the guy that played the Hook at the festival, and I was so fucking excited.
Is the draw for you what it takes to put it together? Like that people are just like, I want to make a fucking movie about a refrigerator that kills people.
You know what?
Let's do it, and they do it, and they for the
it's
whatever they can
exactly
for the best possible way they can, and they put it out there for
that's
people to experience.
Honestly, like unless you're involved with the movie, you have no idea how hard it is. Like, and I filmed a short this year, and I had I had worked on a movie, and when I say I worked on a movie, I mean months. I went through the script with this guy like 4 or 5 times, right? I rewrote the script for him, so it like made sense. And then I had somebody do the grammar, so like it actually made sense.
So we could actually read it.
Yeah. So then I storyboarded the entire thing, and I worked out every single shot of the movie, like literally every single shot. And what happened was he got into a legal situation, and I had to pull out, and he stole the movie, stole my friend's money, like it's just took everything, gave nobody credit, and made the film.
Wow.
And then somebody saw it and was like, hey, that was a really good film. And I'm like, well, I'm glad my film was good. Too bad I didn't get any credit for it.
Oh man.
So then everyone was already coming that was going to be involved in that film. They all backed out because I backed out. So now I have a crew, but I don't have a movie. So a guy whipped up a script, and he's like, we got 3 weeks. I was buying a house, so I was looking in Connecticut every day. I live in Rhode Island, so I'm driving to Connecticut every day, 2 to 3 hours. I did not have the time. The guy I was going to have storyboard, I love him to death. He couldn't storyboard. He broke up with his girlfriend. He had to move out. So like the 3 weeks, no storyboard. The guy I was going to do set locations, like my best friend, he did not get to see the locations that we were shooting. So like when we actually got to make the movie, it was the worst experience of my entire life.
Damn.
Everything fell apart. I mean, it rained. Yeah. People didn't show up. You know, and I had no money at that point. Like I had to pay for a hotel because they were supposed to stay with somebody, and he canceled. So now I have 5 people from out of state.
Yeah, with nowhere to go.
Yeah, and my wife's sick, and I'm like, guess who's coming over? That worked wonders for my marriage, by the way. Hey, these 5 strangers you don't know, they're going to stay at the house.
Yeah, how you feeling, by the way?
Just stay in your room.
Can you cook?
Yeah.
They told me they feed the cat.
One of them
Full
did
circle.
feed my cats. Jazz, you're the best. I think it was Jazz or Reeves. So everything fell apart. It was so bad that we had 16 pages of script. We filmed about 5. So I have to take this film and turn it into a trailer.
Wow.
And it'll never be seen. It'll be on a YouTube site, under lock and key. Everyone in the thing can see it. Everyone will get their IMDb credit once it's finished. But I have to find a voiceover now that I don't have to make this movie. So, like, unless you actually make a movie, you have no idea how hard it really is.
Sure.
So when you see somebody that's like, hey, I had $10 and I made this movie.
And I made a movie. Yeah.
Like, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Sharkenstein's great. You know? Like, and I'll show you it when it's done, and you'll see, like, you'll be like, wow, that's biggest pile of shit trailer I've ever seen. And you'll be
I can't wait.
Sharkula's the best. I can't believe how good that makes Sharkula look. Mark's going to be like, I want to see Weredeer one more time.
They're like, Josh, you did all this, so I changed my mind about Shark.
But here's
Josh is the best.
But I was directing it and I was like producing it. So like I'm the one that had to pay up front for everything. And I didn't, by the time the first day of shooting happened, I didn't even have money for food. I had snacks and drinks and that was it. And the writer's like, you need to get food. I'm like, I don't have food. No, I don't have anything. I'm already tapped. Like, you go get food.
Yeah.
You know? And it was like argument after argument. And we didn't talk. And he's my best friend. We didn't talk for weeks.
Is this before or after you did Weredeer?
After.
After. Okay, so that going from what you said being like one of the best experiences of your life
to the worst.
Then going to,
And I was going to shoot another short, and I had a library location, but then they backed out at the last minute. So I was going to shoot 2 shorts in the same weekend, and I couldn't. And I had my entire crew there, and I couldn't shoot it. And I was pissed. But that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, like, and when people are like, "Oh, independent film sucks," I want to see you make a fucking film.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, unless you actually go out and you physically are on set, you have no idea.
Yeah, for sure.
And independent films are not Hollywood.
Yeah.
No.
I would never go on a Hollywood set. But like Hollywood is like you do this job and that's it. And if somebody's struggling, you just sit there. You do not help them.
Right.
Yeah.
Because your union is not their union, you know? But Hollywood is completely different. And now with the strikes, I've talked to so many actors that are like, I just want to do independence. I just want to work. Because if I'm on strike, I can still work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about independent film.
Yeah.
And
What would you consider something that's like a movie that you like that's, I don't know, your idea of mainstream but maybe not ours?
Jeez. So I don't understand the mainstream like everybody else. Like Toxic Avenger is a great film.
Yeah.
And that's like a cult classic. I would consider that mainstream.
Mainstream. Yeah.
Now. I mean, it wasn't for a long time. It took me a while.
Because
to
like
get the
non-trauma
VHS
fans know what it is. Like,
Yeah.
you say
Oh,
Toxic
sure.
Avenger and you
Yeah.
think like I can picture.
There
I
was-
can picture the cartoon.
There was other mainstream.
Yeah, but see, I fell in love with the movie back
Right.
in like '84. Like
Yeah.
I was in high school and we were renting like
Yeah.
not only the videotape but the player itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
just
like
so you
I don't
could
know how
watch
many
it.
times I rented Toxic Avenger because oh my god, I love this fucking movie. I want to see him fall into the vat. I want to see him, with the mop and the tutu. I just loved that freaking movie. And I'm glad it found the following that it did because back then it was like, what is this?
Yeah.
I can remember my parents being like, "What are you watching?"
So
You rented
many
this for
films
that?
like that. But mainstream now, everything's streaming. So what's mainstream
true.
and what's not? Like,
That's a good point.
dude, trying to find Sledgehammer back in the day, like you could not find that film. And now everyone
I thought you were
talks
talking about the
Sledgehammer.
TV show. I'm like,
No, it's like one of the first VHS films. It was that and Boarding House, and that's all these people talk about now. But for like 20 years, I was like, I can't find Sledgehammer, and now all of a sudden it's fucking mainstream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is the Room mainstream?
I think it is
so,
now
yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
so popular. And
Yeah.
agree.
I've
goes
never heard
beyond-
of The Room.
I think it really
for you.
comes down to like recognizability. If you
get a
act
hold of it
like if
and
you were to ask 20 strangers, "Hey, have you ever heard of this movie?" and 5 of them say yes, but the rest of them say no, or even one of them say, I think that is more of those types of movies where, like, the time, we scroll through all the time to try to find a movie, and there's all these movies that we've never heard of. We've never heard of any of the actors that are in it. So, like, that's kind of what I view them as.
Okay.
Mainstream, like, and there's plenty of mainstream bad movies.
Totally.
I think The Room might walk the line a little
Yeah.
bit because, like you said, like it does have a cult following. It does have a very rabid following, but then there
And
are
it's
a lot of
become a,
people
like,
that don't know what
spectacle.
but mostly because of the background
Right.
and the disaster artist movie that
Right.
that kind of
Yeah.
pushed it forward.
Right.
Thanks to Seth Rogen and Franco.
Right.
But
I mean, even before that, people were talking about this movie.
I remember
It was
hearing about it and then
on The
confusing it with a movie
Simpsons
called
at some
Room.
point. Yeah.
which was out like
Right.
around the same time.
With,
Brie Larson and
Yeah.
the little kid.
Right.
Yes.
And then there's another The Room with the Bond chick from Quantum of Solace.
Ava
Is that
Green?
the one on
No,
Shudder?
no,
There's
the one that
on
played
Shudder called Room.
I
as
think
well.
so.
Yeah.
She played Taskmaster.
Oh, okay. I don't know what
Like,
the
I
actress
want to say it's like Olga something.
Okay.
But
You're very
like,
hung up on this room, huh?
It's one of
love
those
it.
films. I mean, it's one of the things we're
Yeah.
talking about. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's so bad it's good.
So bad it's good, or so bad it's like, but yet celebrated and embraced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas so many quote unquote good movies or movies
It's
like
gotten to the-
people would consider
the-
are good,
this m-
people never talk about.
Right.
Or they see it once, it gets an award, it goes to the Oscars, it gets some kind of Hollywood recognition or whatever, but nobody's talking about it ever again.
But this movie, The Room, has taken on a life where like people are acting out like Rocky Horror,
Right.
like they do like
Yeah.
the shadow cast, for this movie,
Yeah.
where they're like, in the movie, this guy's got framed pictures of spoons for some reason in his apartment. So whenever they see it, they're throwing fucking plastic spoons at the screen,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
All this performance art.
It's kind of taken on that kind of life.
Exactly. And you have Ed Wood promoting Plan 9 from Outer Space. That I think was like the first big,
Right.
cult event of its time. Well, maybe Rocky Horror before then, but once
So-
Ed Wood came out,
so
all of a sudden everybody's, referencing Plan 9. They're doing Plan 9 musical in like local theaters, community theaters are doing plays about it. And again,
You were even writing your own at one point.
I know. Well, that was just to pass the time. I should have been working,
You
but
should
I
have.
wasn't.
I want to hear it.
It's
So-
terrible, but it's really.
I wanna hear it more
it's
now.
amazing that Plan 9, which at one point was considered the worst movie ever made, and I think I've seen that movie more times than I've seen like Unforgiven, which was like an Oscar winner or something. Now that you could say, well, you're an idiot, and that may be true, but I can't be the only one out there that's embraced that movie because. Again, nobody's making Unforgiven musicals and plays, and Tim
Right.
Burton doesn't want to do a documentary.
You know what?
on it.
Just do it.
What, Unforgiven?
No,
I don't want
just
to do
bring
it.
stuff into the
Yeah.
mainstream. I mean, seriously, like
It's amazing.
No one had even heard of Attack of the Killer Refrigerator. It's from 1984.
Right.
Like it's a cult classic.
Oh,
to
really?
The
It's that
5
old?
people that
Oh,
saw
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 5 people saw that. You know what I mean?
It was on a videotape,
I was
right?
not
Yeah,
one of
they
them.
showed
Yeah.
it in a college once,
Yeah.
and then the videotape made some distribution. But if you could find one, it's
Yeah.
like $1,000. Like
Right.
they did not make many. So I consider it my duty. I like this film. I'm gonna push it out there. So here's this film from 1984. Let's go. And now they're streaming. I did the same thing with Psycho Sisters. No one had ever heard of it. I talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. I bought copy after copy. I was sending them all over. All over. Every time I meet somebody from out of state, oh, you should see this movie. So now they got picked up. Wave Productions put it out, and then it got picked up by Saturn Core. So now they have distribution in like actual stores. And I'm like, yes. That's not from me, but at least I helped people.
Right.
So now people are like, hey, I saw that movie in the store that you were talking about. So like that, just fucking
Right.
push it out there.
Do you feel like I always felt like cult was always kind of this the idea of like counterculture where like you find the thing that you love and you hope that nobody loves it,
Right.
But
As much as-
And once-
or not
it's like
enough
that band
for
that you
a
like.
small group of people,
Yeah.
right.
And then once other people gravitate towards that band, you don't like them
you
anymore.
ruined
Fuck them.
it.
Right,
That's
Yeah,
right.
I don't listen to them
I
anymore.
don't think that'll ever happen. Like, we're talking about Weredeer. So if Weredeer becomes super popular for some odd reason, of course I'm going to be like,
You'll be pumped
yes, I
for it.
was part of that.
Yeah.
I helped push it out. This is like the 10th fucking Weredeer podcast that I've done.
No kidding.
And it's not even out yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that's what it's about. You just keep pushing these
Yeah.
movies, and eventually.
Well, the other nine
somebody
as
will hear
handsome
it
as us.
somewhere.
And I think that's
No one's as good looking as you two. See?
no, and I think that's important with like just anything that anybody has a passion about, and
Yeah,
it's important to
exactly.
kind of like expose other people to that. And we do it to each other all the time. Like there's a lot of movies that even the Hammer stuff. Like I said all the time, I never would have seen those movies had it not been for them and their love of them. And now I'm a fan, so it's like that's how fans are made, especially with things like this that don't have a big distribution. So it's like it's got to be that word of mouth kind of thing. And
Yeah, but I always felt like it was one of those like, well, Derek, you're one of us, so we welcome you into the fold. Here's our Hammer collection. We want you to see some of these movies. Not for an instance, not like specifically related to you guys, but that's how I always felt it was. Like if somebody felt like you were welcome to be in the group, then we could share these things that other people don't know about with you. Once the person who's like maybe not in the group is also into that thing, there's that whole like, or could be this idea of like you're a poser. It's cool now. You think it was cool. We were onto this like 20 years ago. Where you been? Kind of thing. I do.
So here's something. So Toxic Avenger, right? People that are into Troma fucking love Troma.
Yeah, for sure.
People work for free just to be part of Troma, right? I drove all the way to Tennessee to be in a Troma movie.
Yeah.
I did not get anything. But I got
Not even any merch?
Well, I got this T-shirt.
That is a cool T-shirt.
There you go.
Yeah,
I made a movie and all I got was this cool T-shirt.
Yeah, it cost me $20, but I got it.
What? You had to buy your own?
Pay for your own merch.
Wow.
We support the cause.
Did you get the screen printed yourself?
Yes. And I
dope
have
T-shirt.
I do have the original. There was another guy, Blade Sackman. I forget his this guy Blade. I did not get to meet him. He was the original Weredeer, and he died.
Oh, man.
They had a screen printed.
Oh, there was a
shirt of him.
was that they paid?
Yeah.
Tribute to him at the end. Yeah.
So I did not get to meet him, but I had the shirt with him on it, and I wore it to New York, and Ben was very drunk and some other people, and they hugged me and started crying, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Shit.
Because they were friends, you know.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was talking about there because he like
How awesome
went on a
your shirt
sad
is.
tantrum. Yeah, this shirt's pretty badass, huh? The artwork for Weredeer is pretty nice. No, Toxic Avenger. So Toxic Avenger came out how many years ago? Right?
84.
Troma people, it's like a cult almost,
Yeah.
right? And now they're redoing it. So everybody that's
That's
like
right.
Peter
Peter
Dinklage is in
Dinklage.
it. Yeah.
they're excited. Do you know that they did a pre-screen for Troma people?
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, everyone involved in Troma got to watch the screener.
That's awesome.
Like, and I didn't get to do it, but like the important people.
Mm-hmm.
It was all over social media for like a week straight.
Hmm.
So like to say like, oh, they're all posers. It's not even like that because now here's something we've loved since it came out.
Yeah.
And now it's starting to go into the mainstream.
Yeah.
It's
And
more
we're
like,
like,
a finally you people are
Yes.
getting.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
see
we're
what
getting the
you
recognition.
see what we
Yeah.
saw.
And that
all
happens a lot.
But that's
in
I
the
don't
Took
wanna
y'all
say
long
I don't
enough.
want to say it bleeds into my argument, but it does to a certain extent. Like where you been all this time, we already knew how good this was.
Yes.
But it also, once that movie comes out, there could be a shit ton of Troma fans who are like, "Why did you do this to my childhood?"
Yeah. Yeah. We all know that there are
And not
people
to
like
say
that out
they
there.
Not to say that they shouldn't do it,
Those
because I
people
actually really want to
call
see that
assholes.
movie. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the
yeah,
thing
yeah.
is there's always going to be
Me
people
too.
like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
regardless of whether or not it's good, they're gonna, there's going to be
I
complainers and
distinctly remember
trolls.
people in the room talking about Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. That's not my jam. I'm not going to say who it was, but I know I heard it. Not naming names.
They're all good. They're all good. I can't be convinced the movie is bad that I love. I just can't.
So.
The Principal was pretty bad.
That movie is fucking
That movie
awesome.
was terrible.
You don't like Louis Gossett Jr. Then
I
that's
like
your
Louis
problem.
Gossett Jr.
That's your
It's not my problem. It's
I
your
just
problem.
came on here to start an argument. I'll see you guys later. Dissension in the rings.
We almost made it to 5 years, boys. Almost.
You had to
We were
make me watch
that
a
close.
fucking Jim Belushi movie, man. Well, you didn't make me. I watched it. I was like, oh, Tito really liked
You watched
this.
The Substitute. I was like, watch Principal.
Oh, The
Just
Substitute,
like The
was
Substitute.
way better than The
I'll
Principal.
tell you what, Tito hasn't failed me once. Everything that he's recommended that I've watched, I'm like,
Thanks,
wow, that was
Derek.
actually really good.
Yeah,
I like
'cause-
that.
yeah.
Hey, you know what? Every
both
time
of
I've
you.
been on this podcast, you've been like, "Hey, I really like this movie." Now that I talk about it, so I think I'm batting 1,000 too, right, Tito?
I agree.
Blowing smoke up your ass. I've heard you say that about every movie.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Calling him out! Calling him out!
Well, no, because you know what? And I think it started with us.
Don't look at
no,
me.
No.
Don't throw me into your
No, I'm going to
little
say this
thing now.
because for the longest time, I could never not like a movie. Like I did when I was in high school. I worked for a small newspaper, the Tri-Town Messenger, and I did movie reviews. And I always found like I never really gave any bad reviews, and it stemmed from that whole appreciation for what
All the
people
bad shit
put,
we
yeah,
watch.
what you
Yeah.
have to do,
Put a
and
movie together.
it's a lot of work to
exactly.
make a movie. So like, you got to respect it. So I kind of I didn't like talking shit about movies. And it wasn't until we started the podcast that I was kind of like, I opened my mind a little bit to be like, yeah, no, I can admit that this is bad. Like, because there's movies that I grew up always saying, oh, no, that's not that bad. It's a decent movie. He-Man, perfect example. Perfect fucking example. I used to love that movie. And like 6 years ago, you asked me, oh, what's Masters of the Universe like? And I'd be like, oh, dude, it was awesome. Totally part of my childhood. I loved it. And it's not. It's awful. It's an awful movie. It's not very good. And now I can kind of look back and say, all right.
If we can only get you to see that about Mario Brothers, then
Mario Brothers is good movie. Mario Brothers is awesome.
Well, Tito will agree with you, and then the millennials will agree, and the old farts will disagree. Yeah, that's the different dynamics of our podcast.
We got the youngins and the old ones.
That's why a lot of times I start off not liking a movie, and the more I talk about it and I think about it, it's
Now
I'm the reason why we have this is what I'm like the audience member of the show.
You watch.
No, we've had
it's our job to kind of
never
certain films.
Right.
Yeah, you've never disagreed.
Derek Everyman Reynard.
You and Tito. If Tito hates the movie,
we've had disagreements.
We've disagreed about films.
No,
I'm kidding.
Well, I mean that's what it is, right? You like what you like, and you
he
don't
took me
like
out.
what you don't.
He took me outside and kicked my ass once, right?
Sure, you had it coming, man.
Down everything.
You made fun of Johnny Legs.
Tore his dick right off.
That's it. Wow, that's a chomp.
I saw an antler
that's
right
a crunch.
Out of the butthole.
Tito, what was the line? There's a crunch.
Oh, that's a crunch. Oh my god, that was so funny. They're so funny so here's the thing. I'm kind of glad I saw it alone. Because I think there are certain points where I would have missed certain things.
Yeah. Because we would
have been laughing and having a great time watching the movie. But
you would have been sleeping.
I would have for sure.
It happened anyway while he was alone.
Yeah, it happened while I was by myself. But there were just so many. I love when a movie randomly does something just like, oh, that's a crunch. It's just so hilarious, and then they just kind of move on,
right,
and act like nothing happened.
That's just so
it's deliberately there, and it's funny, and they know it's funny, and then they just move on really quickly from it. Those are some of my favorite things
I
about
get
movies.
that because I have seen many movies like this that have done that, and you've been like, no, it's garbage. But this one, it's so
I think
weird.
they were spot on. I think they were spot on with when they
like
were
Nukem
trying to
High,
be funny.
Class of Nukem High. You hated that one.
No, I didn't like that movie
and
at all.
I am amazed you didn't like that one because
third act is great.
I love that movie.
The third act is great.
But for all the reasons you like this movie, and it's both trauma. It's strange. It's a strange thing.
Yeah, and normally I
you
wouldn't
never cease
like
to amaze me.
something that crisp because it looks really for an independent film. It looks very clean when I was watching it.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either.
I would prefer, and I was like, oh, this is too clean. I want something grainier.
The DP moved on to Hollywood.
Did he?
Apparently.
Okay.
For Nukem High?
No, for
Weredeer.
For Weredeer.
Okay.
Well, there was two, and Sam was the first
Shit
guy.
Sam.
Yeah, not Shit Sam.
Shit Sam and Shaky
Sam
Guy.
was the first one, and then he went to Hollywood. Yeah, they're hanging out. They're smoking crack together in Hollywood.
They would.
And then Fernando took over. Sam got sick, and Fernando took over, and you could tell the difference. But the movie looks so good all the way through.
It does.
Amazing fucking cinematography.
I was impressed. So here's the thing. I was expecting something as gritty looking as like Sharkula.
Right, exactly.
Like cell phone
used
to film it, but it was
as
real.
soon as I started, I was like, oh, this is so fucking crisp.
Right.
Like, it looks great. You know,
Did they shoot it chronologically?
No.
No, okay.
No, it was
the dicks came last.
So they actually
some not at all.
They really
needed them earlier in the
They missed a lot of shots because the schedule was so fucked up and the days were so long and like so much shit didn't get shot that they had to have everybody come back and basically another like 2 weeks worth.
Well, they got the Weredeer prancing through the field. That's all I care about.
Yeah, I thought you would like the one in the window where he was like going back and forth.
Oh, that was funny.
I did. That was good.
Right? So
that was good.
At least I got you to admit some part of the movie was good.
No, I admitted many things were good. Were you not listening? I gave you a list of things that I really liked about this film.
Yeah.
And I told you what I didn't like. Of course not.
It was such a short list. He sneezed and missed it.
Boy, you're fitting right in with everybody else. What are we doing? What time? What?
No, I really appreciate you guys having me on, especially like for this movie. Like when you asked, I was like, "Are you sure?" Because like I was in this, and I take criticism well. I don't care. I didn't make this movie. I was just part of it. But I love this movie because I was part of it.
Right.
But, you know, it is what it is. And like I had you guys at the Dark Arts Festival. I'm planning on having you guys at the next one.
Nice.
I would hope so. We had a good time.
Yeah,
it was a great time.
That was really awesome. I'm going to be making a movie with Bryce, actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Was it, what's the name of his clown?
Wacky Wonders.
Wackies.
Yeah, Wacky's Wonders. So we're going to make Wacky's Wonders return to Wonders. Yeah.
Nice.
He worked out a script, and he's like, I'm hiring people. And I was like, oh, I got to get like on
All right.
ball with him.
We want parts. We want parts in the movie.
Yeah.
I know, we're
We
available.
want parts in the movie.
I'll get killed by a clown.
I want to be the girl in the shower.
I'm going to tell you.
Can I kill Tito in the movie? Can
Yes.
we have
It's a golden
ring
shot.
But
in
only
his
in the
neck?
butt.
Only in the butt.
You know what? We're going to say that we're putting in the movie, and we're just going to film it and put it on social media and never put it in the movie. Like,
All right.
that's what's going to happen. There.
Whatever works. That's fine.
Whatever, Russ.
Yeah, I have.
I'm already killing him in the comic book. He requested to be killed in Werewolf. You're in Werewolf. You're alive because I like you. These guys are all alive. I was going to keep Tito alive in
Wait a minute,
Werewolf.
I'm in the comic book.
You're going to be you're not in the you're in the either 5 or 6. I haven't decided yet, but you'll show up.
Oh,
all
wow.
these guys are going to show up. This one requested to die in it, so I got to kill him.
In the butt.
in the butt.
I'm going to kill him in the butt.
The chainsaw right up the butt.
Right up the butt. That's the only way to go.
Yeah.
Truly is.
You got to go.
And then
gotta
middle
go.
of
It's
this
gotta
one.
be in the
chainsaw's
butt.
going to stop with the penis stuck to it. Yeah.
So we want parts in the movie.
All right.
That's right. I'm whoring us out.
You guys did great with Bryce.
Oh yeah,
that
no,
interview was
Bryce
great.
Bryce was cool.
Yeah.
I felt so bad because he was so patient.
Yeah.
Sitting across from us, and he's got his puppets, and he's got the big clown and stuff. And we had people coming over. We had the guys who did Kill the Refrigerator. We had
Sam and
Maddie.
Sam and Maddie, and he's waiting, and we told him that we were going to have him on, and then he finally came on. He was great. I like Bryce a lot, and thank you, Bryce, for being so patient.
He told me he listened to that episode almost every day.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, man.
Man. Well, we saved the best for last.
Yeah.
No one took the time to ever interview him before, so that was like the first big interview for him. And I was super stoked that you guys did that.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's cool.
No, it was
We'll
cool.
bring- we'll
Everybody
bring
we
him
met
back.
that day was awesome.
That was an awesome time.
Yeah.
That was a great
very
time.
cool
experience.
And thank you for having us back.
Yeah.
Thanking you in advance for having us back.
Yeah.
I should say.
Well, thank you for having us the first time too.
Yes.
That was awesome
And
for
you guys
reaching
are
out.
going
I already
to
thanked him
December,
for that.
So I'm Silent Night, Zombie Night. I'm showing.
Oh.
It's a free movie showing at Battlegrounds December 6th.
Now I'm gonna go.
Where do you? Oh, in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you
Derek
were
can't
showing
go
the
'cause he's
trailers.
singing.
Yeah,
Derek's
I'm
got a
I got my
concert.
chorus concert.
What's the
But
date?
what's that?
What's the date?
December 16th.
December
It's a
16th.
Saturday.
And it's like the Rhode Island Scream Queen. She came back, so
Yeah.
we're gonna promote it heavily. I just haven't gotten the artwork from the writer and director yet, but he might come too.
Nice.
Cool.
So, yeah, it's gonna be an event.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Christmas
We'll be
horror
there.
movie. It's an older movie, but it's the same thing. Like
Yeah. You said it's what, about 10
push
years
it out,
old?
push it
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like it's on Tubi. It's a 10-year-old movie. The writer or director might come out, but because the family moved back, like John and his wife were like, "Hey, can we show this?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, let's fucking do it!" Like,
Yeah.
Stuff like that is cool. When especially something that old and they want to still be involved.
Right.
They're like, I
Yeah.
like this thing. Do you want to be involved
So,
in this thing?
be-
They could very easily go like, I don't want to talk about
Yeah.
the thing ever again. Like it did not.
And Rhode Island's so small, like because they went to Hollywood. Like she was in Hollywood for a long time, and then she made a bunch of horror movies in Hollywood, and then came back. And now she's like, you know what? I told her, I'm like, you're officially the Rhode Island Scream Queen now, because you've been in so many horror movies. We don't have a Scream Queen, so there you go. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Nice.
So that's what I got. Horror Depot presents. I gotta remember to say that.
Yeah, you do.
Cool. I was gonna let
Yep.
you. I was gonna let you plug all your stuff at the end, but you want to plug it now?
Oh,
you know,
I'm
I
just
guess.
plugging away. I took
away.
I took it. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna plug my stuff
Phrasing.
because I felt the need.
That's what we do.
I mean, you work it in pretty naturally.
I
Crazy.
tried.
Good flow. Very organic.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got? All right, let's get to geek flags very quick because we are running along here.
Tito?
All right. Tito, you got anything?
Oh, we're doing Geek Flex?
Yeah.
I season 4 of What Had Happened is a podcast I absolutely love. It's Open Mike Eagle, and season 4 has Questlove on it. Every season he interviews a different like hip hop producer. This season's Questlove from The Roots, and it's fucking fun as hell. So I enjoy the behind the scenes stuff and hearing about that stuff. So it's a fun podcast. Check it out.
Cool. I was going to talk about this last week. Obviously, I couldn't, but I had watched the Get Gotti documentary on Netflix. I'm really big into mob stuff, and the Get Gotti documentary is awesome. If you are into mobsters and the whole mafia thing, if you're fascinated by it, I definitely recommend this documentary. Very detailed 3-episode story of his rise as the Dapper Don, and how they catch him, the amount of times they tried to catch him, and the amount of times they failed.
Like a Teflon Don.
Fascinating story. Fascinating stuff as to what goes on. I could not believe it. Sarah and I watched it. We were amazed.
I should watch that one.
Very good.
Is it episodic or is it just?
It's episodic. 3 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, 3. Shocker.
Calling yourself the shocker of the shocker. I shock people.
And I had something else. What the hell was it? I can't remember it, so I'll just go with that for right now.
I watched a movie called on Paramount Plus called Oregon Trail, which the cover of it and the name makes it sound like it's like a really cool horror movie, which it's not.
Oh, it's not.
It's the story of the video game, right?
It's not Oregon like the state. It's Oregon.
No, Oregon Trail.
Oregon.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was Oregon.
No, Oregon. But it's really good. It was directed by Michael Patrick Jan, who actually directed Drop Dead Gorgeous, the Kirsten Dunst movie that I
I
love
was
so
just
much.
talking about that movie today, actually.
It starred a lot of people I don't recognize, so it's one of those like unknown cast, with the exception of Sam Trammell from True Blood. And while the name and poster makes it look like it could be a Western horror film, it isn't. It's bloody and gory, but it's a really great modern Western. It made me think of Bone Tomahawk.
Oh, really? I love that movie.
Yes, like very much like it. It was gritty. It was awesome. So check that out. And I'm also now watching. There's a reality show. It's called 007. Road to
Oh
a Million.
yeah. What's his name is hosting
Brian
it.
Cox.
Yes.
So Brian Cox plays this like he's like this villainous host. He's like in the control room controlling everything. The people go on. It's teams of 2. They're all in these different settings that were like in the movies, and everything's kind of Bond related. Like they basically have to go like trek and do stuff to get a briefcase that has like very Mission Impossible style messages from Brian Cox, and it's just trivia. It's like a question about the area, something related to where they are, and if they get it right, they bank some more money, and if they get it wrong, then they're out. And it's really cool. So
Did Ian Fleming write that?
No.
Oh, the James Bond guy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Brian.
So Friday was the holiday. I got to see the Marvels. And I happened to bump into my co-host here, who happened to be sitting right next to me.
Wearing the same clothes.
Yeah.
Wearing the same exact sweatshirt.
sweatshirt we bought.
Yeah, we total twinsies. But no, the Marvels was a lot of fun. Great post-credit scene. Not going to spoil it, but it does set up a larger thing for the rest of the Marvel universe.
Stay off of Facebook because they spoiled the shit out of
did they?
the show.
Yeah, which is sad.
There's so much hatred against this film right now. I feel really bad. So there's a lot of people trying to
which there shouldn't be. It's a lot of fun.
It is.
They're trying to spoil it for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I got caught just like as soon as I went on there, I saw the spoiler. But I still want to see it.
Yeah. And my other thing is on Apple Plus For All Mankind Season 4 started this past weekend. It's awesome. I've talked about the show before. The guy that was in the Suicide Squad movies, Kinnaman?
Oh, yeah.
Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah.
He's the star of it. He's still going in this one. It's way... The show started with the space race back in the 60s. The premise of the show is what if the space race never ended? And now we're in the early 2000s in season 4, and it's really ramping up. They're colonizing Mars. The Russians and the Americans are working together. Kinnaman is still the star of the show. It's really good. Cool. Really cool. Love the show.
Josh, what about you?
Josh?
Well, I'm in the middle of Trovember. So
Yes,
I'm
you
doing
are.
all Troma stuff. So a couple of my friends are doing Going Balls Deep, which is like a YouTube cast. I don't know what to call it. It's like a podcast on YouTube. So that's pretty interesting. my good friend Chrissy's in it, and Victor Trigo, who was in Eating Miss Campbell. So I'd recommend that.
Okay.
So I'm a little behind, but I got to catch up. And they are fucking hysterical.
Cool.
And of course, like all things, I'm on the Troma Now app now, and like just going through everything. Shout out to Shithouse Productions, obviously.
Right.
They gave us this to work with, so that was nice. I want to watch the movie again.
Yeah,
and it's not as fun when you're alone. And then
we'll have to have more watch parties.
Yeah.
Well, me in a squid suit, it's like a double D battery.
That's fine. You can bring your squid suit. Bring your squid suit.
Oh, you guys made me eat.
It's rough.
That's right. The sex appeal still comes through.
Yeah,
true.
Totally.
It's totally all right.
Totally. Nobody was looking at what's her name when you were on.
Yeah. It was
like, oh, this is a stripper, but who's
squid.
Yeah, who's the guy in the red squid suit?
Damn, son.
That luxurious beard.
Yeah, Beardalicious. That's what Beardalicious. There's another one I was in. One of my films, Grotesque. It's not my film, but the guy who made it. Him and I have talked, and he used a picture of me in Grotesque 2. So I'm pretty excited to see that when that drops. I think it's a really zany killer. She has this giant nose, and her nose gets cut off in a botched surgery, and she just goes nuts and kills people.
Oh, wow.
So I'm very excited to see how the second one turns out.
Sounds good.
And he's like, "Oh, I used your picture in a good way," and I'm like, if I'm getting shit on." So Grotesque 2's coming. Yeah. Mark of the Weredeer is another one. Mark of the Weredeer.
Do you star in that one?
No.
You should.
You were made for it, man.
Seriously, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I was in it, but I wasn't. I was a little late on that.
Okay.
But so that's going to be, I may or may not show that in the future. We have talked quite a bit. They gave me the screener. Super nice guys. And it's about a killer beard. So when that comes out, I got to see it, and if you like this film, you'll like that film.
Tito, we're gonna go see it now.
But it's cute because it's a giant beard.
Yeah,
It's a jump. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just kills people.
just like us, Derek. Just like.
So that's really it. And then obviously I'm on Troma Now, and I'm digging through that, and I love.
What is your favorite Troma film? Do you have like a number one, like an always go to?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. The actual Troma films, Poultrygeist, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Like that was the first like DVD Troma I picked up just because it's so overboard. And I love like the Native American lore where they're like, ah, fuck you, I just think that's great. And the singing is fucking hysterical. And it's funny, I went to some Troma screening, and the guy that played the main character was there. I can't even remember his name now. And I was like, and I was like, oh, that's the guy. That's the guy. And,
It's all starstruck.
Yeah. And so I know a lot of Troma people because I've done a lot of Troma things, right?
Yeah.
I've gone to events and so I'm talking to a lot of the people. Like Reeves Elliott did Secret of Cuck Island. I showed it like twice, right?
Secret of Cuck Island.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I showed it twice, and then the place that I showed it was like he has porn links on the site because that's the only way he can make money is if people click on the porn links, right? So he put porn links on the site. They went to the site and they're like, "We can't have this. We can't be." I'm like, "You showed it twice." I'm like, "I gave you that link like 3 months before we showed it the first time," and they're like, "Take everything down." And that's a good movie. You should definitely check that out. I forgot what I was talking about because
being cucks.
Derek had asked you what's your go-to
your
Troma film.
Well, check out The Secret of Cuck Island.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's on the app.
Right.
That and Poultrygeist.
You'll watch it, and then all of a sudden things just come out of nowhere, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
There's definitely some scenes in that. I'd highly recommend it for you guys.
Let's watch it in a group, just in
Yeah,
case.
just in case.
Watch it with your wives. You may
Exactly. It's guy time. Hey, it's guy time.
It's time with the fellas.
Yes, time with the fellas.
Yeah.
Get out the ball gag and lotion, and we'll all pee all over each other.
Oh, my.
But there's a lot of good ones on Troma now. Like, there's, Frankenhooker's on there, Bloodsucking Freaks is on there. And
God,
as misogynistic as it is, the first time I saw it, I was like 12, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm like...
Frankenhooker is a Troma movie.
Yeah.
It is. Well, it's not a Troma movie,
No,
but
Bloodsucking
they own it.
Freaks is.
Yeah.
okay.
And of course, like, Garden of the Dead's one of my faves. That's
that
on
one I
there.
gotta see.
Yeah, they have Chainsaw Nun. I watched the other day, and I've watched that like 3 times. It's like a short film.
I don't like things with
I don't know why.
chainsaws. I'm not gonna watch it.
I figured you would be into
not a
that.
fan of
And
chainsaws.
yeah, there's some good stuff on there. So
Cool.
nice.
All right, Josh, thank you very much for being with us. Josh Dahlin, everybody. Oh, darling. Squidman from Curse of the Weredeer.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
The owner of Horror Depot. Before I
was going to say that
never
next.
pushed my actual business.
Check them out at www.horrordepot.net, not .com.
Yeah, it's not up now.
It's not.
No,
well, forget everything I just said.
But you are on the Instagram. I know.
But I
that.
will make
Yep.
it. I have to make it by Friday, so the website will be up by Friday.
All right.
Oh, all
so
right,
if
well,
you're
then-
listening to this now, it should
Should
be
be
up.
up.
Yeah.
Or Josh is lying to you.
Plus, you're on Facebook
Yeah.
and Instagram.
And
Roll
check
the
out
dice.
that-
What do you got to lose?
And check out that screening he has coming up in
right.
December.
Yeah.
And I'll be there. So if any of you listening who are involved with Curse of the Weredeer and you want to kick my ass, I will be there. And let you do it. If I can
bring
get
a
an
sign,
autograph.
kick this
Yeah.
Right in the butt.
That's right.
This
Yeah.
guy's the one that didn't like the
And
movie.
if Tito
Bring
comes
your
with me,
antlers.
he'll point me out. He'll be like, "This is the asshole
That's
right
the guy.
here. Get
That's
him."
the asshole.
Tito will
That's
be
his
wearing a
asshole.
T-shirt that said, "I'm the one that liked it."
Well, all right. So if you folks out there like this episode and would like to check out past episodes of The Dads where we rant and rave and relish and relinquish and regurgitate and
Relinquish.
I don't know. All things geek. Brian, where can they go?
They can go to www.3gdpodcast.com. That's www.
The number 3.
GDpodcast.com. As Mark said, you'll be able to find all of our past episodes there, along with one-click buttons where you could subscribe to us easily. If you're not already a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Smash one of those buttons, and you will never miss an upcoming episode. Also, while you're there, please take a few seconds to maybe rate and review the show. A 5-star rating and a review go a long, long way to help push us a little further forward from the podcast pack. And our social media presences are there. We're on Facebook, Twitter, now X, Instagram, and our audio can be found weekly on YouTube as well. And before I forget, we also have a Ko-fi page. Ko-fi is like Patreon. If you want to make a small donation to help keep the show going, it will be greatly appreciated. So please, and thank you. And if I had forgotten anything, I apologize. But I just want to say, as always, thank you out there for listening.
If you forgotten, our 5-year show is coming up.
It is.
Well, our 5-year anniversary. We haven't planned anything for a show yet.
We got something special. I don't know what it is yet, but it's going to be special.
The honeymoon's over.
There you go.
Yeah.
We got something special. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is yet. Might involve a bicycle ride. I don't know.
It's going to be good.
But 5 years, plenty of other shows to listen to Brian's exit out on where to find us. So if he has forgotten anything, give him a break. He's been saying the same thing for 5
I
years.
should know it by now.
Yeah.
I probably say this shit in my sleep.
Well, in the beginning, remember in the beginning we used to list all the things we streamed on.
Oh, I know.
That's right.
Yeah.
A laundry list.
Yeah.
Ghana.
That was before we had an official website.
Ghana, Deezer and Ghana.
Yeah.
Oh,
Big shout out to them.
Remember that?
I used to call it
Remember that
DZB,
list?
Yeah.
I wonder if I can still say that.
What we should
We're
do
on
is-
Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, Ghana.
Yeah.
Shit, I can't remember. There's like 10 more now.
YouTube
Yeah.
too, right?
So
Yeah.
long ago.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
that?
Well, yeah, now we're on YouTube.
Yeah,
I don't
we're
think
now
we
on
weren't
YouTube.
on YouTube then.
Not, no, not then.
No.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. Back
should-
in the good old
we
days.
should
when
play
we
our very
was
first
3
intro.
guys and 1
We
mic.
should play our old intro, and we should do Hellfest, because that's what we tried to do.
Oh my God, we
when we
should.
first got together. We should
Right.
rewatch Hellfest.
We should act like it's our first,
Yeah.
we
first
should.
episode.
Yeah, we'll,
That's
we'll,
right.
we'll,
Oh,
we'll break
you're
out Derek's old Blue Yeti microphone. We'll all
Yes.
sit around that and eat Doritos like we did in the
I was gonna
first
say,
one.
we gotta have a big bowl
Boy,
of
that was a
chips.
great episode. A lot of production value.
Yeah, we should revisit that. All those many
So bad
years
it's good?
ago.
So bad it's good.
What,
So bad
Hellfest?
it's good?
You mean
No,
the
the
podcast?
podcast.
Oh, you know what we should do? We should do a
So
drink
bad
till
it
it's
was
good
bad.
to our old episodes.
Oh my God, that's genius.
Yes! We should drink till it. We should drink till it's good to our very first episode.
Listen to
That's
this
it.
fucking guy
That
here.
is
know.
great.
What an idiot.
That's awesome.
All right, I think we got
There
it.
you go. There you go. Okay,
think we
so
got
stay
it.
tuned for that. You bore witness to a production meeting.
Well,
Hi.
folks, they're on Spotify. They're on Deezer. They're on drugs.
We're on drugs. We're on Coke, cherry Coke.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Tito. Thank you, John Boy. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. and
Out
Mrs.
there
America,
for
and all the ships at
listening.
sea.
We used to do that, too. We said that a lot. For Three Geeky Dads, I'm Mark.
I'm Derek.
I'm Brian.
I'm Josh.
I'm Tito.
Saying good night and keep watching the skies because there's a weredeer a-prowling.
Or dicks flying.
Thank you. Thank you. I couldn't think of anything better. Thank you, Brian. Good night.
That's it. Nobody does it better than Brian.
Nobody can do that.
No one can make that sound better than Brian. Vince. Even Yoko couldn't.
Did you know everyone got Weredeer tattoos?
Did they really? Like Lord of the Rings?
It's the W. Like this W.
Oh, yeah?
Cox.
Cox.
It should always be. It should be on there.
Well, it starts as a W and turns into
It-
Curse of the Weredeer.
Yeah. I only see W. Well, just wait a minute.
Well, I'll start doing some stuff. Hey, you made it! I was like, it's a Troma movie. He's not gonna come.
I was trying to figure out a way to get out of this. Fortunately, no.
I didn't think you would like it.
Guys, I'm getting tired.
Let's look at the wait, this is my new go-to.
The Powerade and vodka.
Powerade, vodka, and Sprite.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
just so you know, I'm not gonna spill all the stories because some of them are old. But the first day I got there was probably the best story.
All right, well, you spill whatever you want. Sounded gross.
The first
but-
day I got there, the assistant director told me to come back later. And she closed the door in my face.
So I gotta kill him.
In the butt.
In the butt.
I'm gonna kill him in the butt.
The chainsaw right up the butt.
Right up the butt. That's the only way to go.
2 hours later.
So Mark, I hear you want to tell me something.
Well, you know, Josh, you stuck around after the show, and we just watched what the fuck was the name of it?
Werewolf Santa.
We just watched Werewolf Santa in preparation for another show we're preparing to do soon with
Not our own.
Not our own. The Two Geeks and the microphone, and a microphone. I'm a little
Stephen and Mike.
I'm a little traumatized after the utter repulsive boredom I just had to go through. So I just want to issue an apology to you, sir, and the people all involved in Curse of the Weredeer, because I had a lot to say about it. Some stuff I liked, but most of it I didn't, and I made that clear on the show. But I'm just going to apologize, guys, because compared to what I watched right now, I see what it's like when people don't do anything and just spend a whole movie being boring as shit, which Curse of the Weredeer was not. At least, oh boy. So I'm just going on record to everybody, Curse of the Weredeer, and Josh, I'm so sorry. I apologize. So I'll see you all at Josh's screening, and you can laugh and point at me and punch me in the face. It's all well deserved. Thank you, Josh.
Anytime.
Now you watch this with me, Josh, and you being a fan of because we just talked about bad movies.
They took a chance and made a movie.
Thank you. They sure
they sure did.
Okay. Thank you and good night.